Right, let me just make sure I silent my phones.
Yeah, not like some people do podcasts.
They don't silent, huh?
Yeah.
Really good, huh?
This guy. Okay, what's up, dude? Shamir,
Yep.
nice to have you on the podcast.
Thank you,
guys.
man.
We've got a crime fighter. Is that the
Crime prevention.
crime prevention? Shamir, tell me about yourself, man. You got a really interesting profession,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, so, first of all, hey, thanks, man, for having me on. I've seen what you guys have been doing on this podcast, and I say good job so far. I've been wanting to be on, so thank you very much for extending the invitation.
So you actually reached out.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I looked at your message. I didn't really look properly enough at your account, but I'm sure if I did that time also, I would have found it interesting. A few months later, someone forwarded me. Then I'm like, dude, this account looks familiar. Yeah. Then I reached out again.
Yes,
Said, come on the podcast.
Yeah. But basically what I do in crime prevention, so I'm a crime prevention specialist, and two things, right? One is that I've got a PhD in criminology. So that basically helps me understand the criminal mind. But I also did a lot of groundwork. I went to a grassroots of crime, and I said, hey, if I'm going to learn about crime and I want to be on the side where we are preventing crime, I should learn from the otai lah to say, huh? So you learn from the experts. So I used to go to the undergrounds. I've been given access into prison. I used to sit down with criminals and say, hey, just teach me what you do, man. And then we take that knowledge and we try to come up with preventive measures.
Oh, that's fucking awesome, man.
Oh, thanks, man. Thank you.
Honestly, I would love to have been in your shoes, be a fly on the wall while you're talking to those convicts or inmates or whatever. You mind taking me back to the beginning? Like, how do you get interested in this? Like, this is your passion, right?
Yep, it is.
Yeah.
I think, everyone has some sort of interest in crime. Right? And I think the media plays a very big aspect in this. We glorify criminals. Right?
In movies.
Anything we do, even media. Right? And I'll give you a very good example. You know the name Botak Chin?
Yes, sir.
You know the name Bentong Kali?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you know who caught them?
You.
No.
Your father.
No.
Your grandfather.
No.
Okay.
But nobody knows the name of the police officers who caught them. Right? But everyone has glorified the name Botak Chin. Everyone has glorified the name Bentong Kali, right? We all know these criminals, right?
So perhaps a bit later in the podcast, right? I'm going to ask about Botak Chin, Bentong Kali, because I've read before, I've seen some TikTok videos, but I would assume this generation, especially, we are not too familiar. So later we talk a bit about that.
Can. So I think everyone has some sort of interest in crime, right? And I think maybe mine was a bit more than the rest. But I didn't want to be a police officer.
Sorry. Yeah. Why was yours a bit more than the rest?
Oh, good question. Why? I don't know, but it just interests me, right?
Were you really into crime films or series or whatever?
I was. You've got a CSI. My time growing up, we've got
Exactly.
CSI, Criminal Minds. Those are the two. Now we've got so many others kind of Netflix.
Yeah.
My time, no, we have to watch it online and all. I want to say torrent, but...
Yeah, torrent.
Okay. The younger generation, I don't know whether they know what's torrent or not.
Some form of downloading.
So watched all those. So I think that really piqued the interest. And I think Criminal Minds played a big aspect, because it really shows you the other side of it, right? It's not just so much as going out and catching criminals, but also understanding them and then catching them.
Okay, bro. So you said you have a PhD in criminology.
Criminology, yes.
Where did you get that?
University Malaya. My PhD is from University Malaya.
Okay,
so it's not fake lah.
I didn't doubt it. But how's the course like? How long is it?
So I submitted my final paper after about 3.5-4 years, give or take.
Okay.
So that's usually the duration of a PhD.
Okay, so having typically people who graduate from that course, right? What are the roles or jobs that they would be going into?
So there's a very small number of us that have it.
That's what I wanted to ask.
Very small. PhD is not really offered. Criminology is not really offered in Malaysia. Only nowadays is coming in. UKM is finally offering it, and there are some other universities that offer it. But what I had to do was do a PhD. My focus was criminology, but I had to do it in the social science department because we didn't have a faculty of criminology. So in terms of job scope, most of us, what we end up doing is become academicians or some police officers, but most of everybody's in enforcement of some sort. So I was one of the dudes that are not in enforcement lah. So I've got no right to catch you or anything like that. But just
yeah. But you to pretty much assist with the enforcement.
Here and there, I don't go to I don't turun padang. But here and there, certain officers who know me, they just give me a call, say, hey, can I just get your opinion on certain things and all. So we do have that, but nothing official where I go over and do that. But here and there, I've been fortunate enough. The police, I have to say now, is more open to learning as well. So I've been invited a few times to the police stations to do trainings for them.
Can I ask, like, how's their reaction like? Because it's not, I assume it's not often that they are in touch with someone with your qualifications. Like you said, maybe they write you off before meeting you.
Yep.
Yeah, but how's their reactions after going through your classes or something?
Amazing. I have to say, the first time I was called in to give a lecture to the PDRM, I was maybe 27, 28. I was young, right? And some officers over there had 30 years experience. I'm only 28. They are in the force for 30 years. But at the end of it, I said, okay, thank you very much. I'm done. I didn't open it up for Q&A. And somebody stopped me and said, sorry, Tuan, I have a question to ask. It's like, police officer asking me question. He wants my opinion. And they had very, very good questions. And they were very open to learning because they're like, look, we don't have all the answers. We want to change. This is what we would like your opinion as well. So more and more officers, I think, are open to learning from even outside of enforcement.
Okay, awesome. So it's a great experience.
It is amazing. Nice officers.
Okay, yep. Bro, I put the paper aside because cannot focus. Yeah. Anyways, bro, what is the... Okay, so what's the criminal landscape like in Malaysia over the last 10 years? Are we on the incline, on the decline? If so, in which areas?
We are, of course, on the incline. There are more and more scams, especially, right? So here's the thing, right? There was a report many years ago saying that crime rates have dropped. And I don't blame the police for releasing such a report because by statistics-wise, it's true because people stop making reports on index crime. There's something called index crime, right? So, but the reality is because people don't report, police have nothing to take action on. So it's so important, everyone who's watching this, please, if even the smallest crime, go and make a report. The police need the stats, right? But we are on the increase for a few things. One is, of course, the scams. Digital crimes have gone up.
I think that's also perhaps another reason why the crime reports are gone down because a lot of it has gone cyber.
Yeah. So what happens is people just end up calling the banks, right? Hey, my money got stolen. Can you help me? Right? Then they've got 997 now, right? So they call these places instead of calling the police. So it doesn't really go into their statistics sometimes.
Yeah. Hey, bro, this one also I was just wondering yesterday when I was thinking through this podcast, right? So I've gotten I think this is considered a scam. Like, you know, it happens like sometimes your credit card, right? You check your bank account, right, and then it's just less than what you expect, you know, and then you see some transactions that you don't recognize. So what happens is it's happened to me a couple of times already.
Okay.
And right now it's like I feel very confident in I will get my money back. Usually it's a few hundred.
Okay.
You know, it happened to me when I was in Melbourne.
Okay.
It happened to me here also. Went to Maybank, talked to them, and then fill up some forms, show the proof or whatever the transactions. Got my money back after a couple of days, right?
Nice.
Is the banks like are they fully liable to compensate? Like
if they can prove that you did not make, if you can prove that you didn't make the transaction, they will give you back the money.
But it's pretty much just it's a loss on their end.
On their end, it's a loss
Okay.
But they got insurance for all this So
okay. That's
banks have insurance.
Bro,
so it's okay. Small losses like this is okay.
Yeah, that's why because I was thinking right. I think last year alone I saw a statistics, 50 million has been lost to scams. Which areas? I'm not sure, but all over 50 million. That's a lot of money that the banks also would have to keep compensating.
Yes.
You know, especially for credit card scams or whatever. Something else that we should not overlook. 50 million lost to corruption.
Yeah, yes, definitely.
Billion.
Yeah,
that's crazy, bro.
Yeah.
If you said 50 million to corruption, I was like, oh, okay, yeah. But then 50 billion?
Corruption is crazy, man. You know, when you look at things as well, and a lot of times we see, you know, even now lately as well, MACC has been catching a lot of politicians that have been involved in a lot of corruption cases and all. But also that goes back to us also, right? One is that corruption seems like a normal thing in this country.
Which is a problem now, that how we react that way.
Two, also, let me ask you this. I'm not speaking about politics, but a lot of times we relate it back to politicians, for example, right? What's the retirement age for government servants in Malaysia? 60, 66? 65, right? Retirement age is 65. Sure. What's the retirement age for politician? There isn't one, right?
So in 2 months' time, right? 2 months and 3 days, Mate will be 100. That's crazy,
that's
guys.
Crazy, yeah.
Let's just
but that's the thing, right? Politicians are government servants. So why isn't there a retirement age? And that's the thing, right? We keep... why is there double standard? That's the thing, right? Politicians are government servants. Why is there no retirement age for politicians?
Perhaps they want to be active.
There must be a reason behind it as well, lah.
Yeah. Okay, bro. So right after you graduated, man. Tell me your journey, man.
So I actually started off in my degree was actually in international business. My master's was in criminal justice, my PhD in criminology. But my degree, when I first came out, I was in one of the banks. I was in the financial.
So this was you furthered your studies?
Yes. There's no degree in criminology in Malaysia when I was doing it. just started one, criminology.
So when was it that you graduated with the PhD?
PhD, I finished my PhD 2020 something only. Not too long ago, a few years ago only.
I see. So you actually worked in corporate?
For a year, I was in the bank. Then after that, from 2010, I've been doing this.
You know what? It was short-lived, but tell me, man, how was that?
So I think the corporate was there just for me to have enough capital to start up. So I worked there a year, had enough capital, started up in 2010, and we've been going ever since. It's 15 years already now.
You've always sort of had like criminal work in your mind, but there was, like you said, there was no available courses.
No available courses.
And then suddenly one fine day, you heard about it, and then you went for it.
Much later on, but I was already at that time conducting trainings for corporates on, what can you do to reduce crime in certain corporations.
But that was before you even did your education.
That was after my degree. So I went corporate for a year, I came out, and then I started conducting trainings in corporations.
So how conducting these trainings, right? How did you learn all this stuff by yourself?
Turun padang, go to the underground. You learn from the best. So you must have that street knowledge to say.
Tell me some of it, man, bro.
So I used to go to the underground. I used to say, for example, I used to sit around with snatch thieves. I say, hi, how do you snatch a bag? Why do you snatch a bag? How do you do it?
Sorry, where do you find these people?
If I say it on a podcast, then difficult lah. Then the police will be like, hey, tomorrow they go serve the area, then difficult.
Understand.
Yeah. But there are certain underground places you go to, and then that's where all these guys are. And then you go blend in a bit, make sure they know that you're not there for any ill intention lah.
Yeah, which is you weren't lah.
I was there just to learn. I genuinely wanted to learn, kan. Yeah. But there's a fine line in how you must carry yourself in these spaces, right? You cannot seem like a person who can be bullied, but you cannot walk in looking arrogant, right? So you must have that fine line where, hey, it cannot bully me, but I'm very respectful in this space.
You don't know them, right?
Nope.
So it's just perhaps you heard from someone lah, where you could meet these people.
Word of mouth, hey, this area got, that area got, go make friends a bit, bring some food.
Without saying details, right? Like probably just describe the background of these people, demographics or whatever.
You name it. I've sat down with small-time criminals all the way from small-time petty thieves like pickpockets, snatch theft, all the way to Somalian pirates.
In Malaysia?
In Malaysia, there were some guys, but this one I met in prison, right? There was a Somalian pirate that was caught, so he was in Malaysian prison. Had an amazing conversation with him. Spoke excellent Bahasa. He's been here for so long. He spoke excellent Bahasa.
Okay, so he's only been in Malaysia because he was caught.
He was caught.
So where did they catch him? Or
so I think they caught him. They hijacked some ship, Malaysian vessel. So that's how he got caught. But that's when, dude, I found out. Yeah. Even before the movie Pascal came out, how good our Pascal was, because the Pascal actually, to save our tanker, actually infiltrated that tanker and brought the Somalian pirates down. That's how good they were. So I was like, oh my god, you're telling me a story. I was like, oh my god, so cool.
No, but this guy, the one that you're talking to, the Somalian pirate, he was on that.
He was on that. They went to hijack the tanker.
Yeah. Oh, he was the one hijacking.
He was part of the crew that was hijacking the tanker.
Okay, I've heard of that case, right? Yeah. But so there's actually not too many of those incidents.
Not too many.
Okay, damn that.
Yeah. So our Pascal is good. If you ever doubted what they showed you in the movie, no, they are that good. Even better, maybe in real life.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, bro, you're living very interesting life.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, is it like they are actually? I would assume they are they're kind of happy to show or proud of their work. Is that true?
Yes and no. Again, it's not so much as, hey, I go in here, hi, I'm Shamir, how are you? One is I try to look a certain part as well. So at least there's a bit more of they relate to me a bit more lah. I don't go dressed decent with a haircut and all lah. I look like the guy that's going to get stopped by the police in the next roadblock, right? So when I go in, So that's something that they can relate to. And then it's a bit of getting to build that rapport first
Yeah.
before they actually are comfortable enough to share with you.
But when you say build the rapport, right? Like you're not staying in the.
No.
I assume it's a lockup,
No,
lockup area.
like prison. Yeah, but in the general.
So this Somali dude, you met him in prison.
Prison, not lockup, prison.
How did you get access?
So difficult. I had to write so many times, and then finally, the prison authorities gave me access to prison for research purpose. Not easy. So difficult.
Bro,
I've been to prisons in other countries and I got access much faster. Not the ones in Malaysia. Very difficult.
What are you doing in prisons in other countries?
I have to go and learn. I was in like prisons in Philippines and all. Nice. They let me in. I have to say, among many prisoners I've met and different prisons I've been to, Filipinos, extremely hospitable. The prisoners themselves, very hospitable. Hey, come, sit down here, lepak. I saw like, oh, damn cool here.
Don't have any procedures or like here in Malaysia?
No, that one I was able to get in a bit faster because I asked somebody over there just, hey, can you write in, an academician over there, very famous academician over there, can you just write in and ask permission for me? And they did. And because he's very close to those prison authorities, they gave.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, bro. So yeah, you were saying building rapport, right? So it means you probably go there a couple of times a week or something like that.
Yep. So I spent a bit of time in and out.
I've been looking for an ex-convict to have a chat with on the podcast. Maybe you can connect me later. But and anyways, when you go and talk to them, they have their schedule as well, right? It's not like you can go in anytime like that.
Sure.
During their break time or something.
So I went in about in the morning. I go in the morning. By evening, I'm out. Before it gets dark lah.
No, but are you hanging out with them in the cell?
No. They give me a room and it's just me and them in the room. A room like this. I'm given a room about this size. So one by one, just say if I want to sit down with
the Somali dude.
Just say if I say, okay, today I'll sit down with murderers, then they will send one in lah, one-on-one lah. Anything also, it's safe.
One-on-one also.
Yeah lah. If too many people, then suddenly I get stabbed means.
No, bro. So was there fear, bro?
Of course, God. You must not carry yourself in these kind of spaces lah. Yeah, but you cannot look arrogant lah. You cannot look, oh, I'm bigger than you, I'm better than you. No, like must be respectful to him, but you have to look.
I'm gonna have to ask more, man, about this murderers dude. Yeah, so who are these people, man? Not who, but what? Of course, don't say names or anything lah. But tell me about these people, their backgrounds and all.
You name it. I've sat down with people who have taken a phone wire and strangled a person to death. Sat down with people who have stabbed people to death.
What's up, guys? So far, if you are enjoying this podcast episode, or maybe you enjoyed previous episodes, please do me a favor. It would really help me out if you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment, your thoughts on what you thought about today's episode, suggestions, who you want to see in future podcast episodes, and enjoy the rest of the episode with Shamir.
I've sat down with people who... You name it lah, probably.
Yeah, bro. I
just don't know how.
So, yeah, bro. I'm interested to know like the. So how do you initiate the conversation? When you get into the room with them, all this stuff.
Simple. I just tell them, hey, dude, I'm here to learn. Whatever you say to me, is you cannot use it. I cannot use it against you in court. They've already been convicted anyway.
Yeah.
So anything you share with me is just for my knowledge. It's I'm not going to give your name up or anything like that. That's the one code I have with all these guys lah. So no matter what, I'll never say your name. And I've done a lot of talks for the police and all. I said the same thing. I said, look, I'll teach you whatever you want. Don't ask me who I learned it from.
Yeah, because there's going to be shit that they tell you that they perhaps haven't been convicted for lah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But I said, mom's the word lah. I'll talk about the case, but I will not now share who you are. Right, so there's a bit of trust over there, and since I've been in and out so many times, after a while people also know like, okay lah, Shamir I can trust lah, he's quite cool lah, So yeah.
Okay. Just to briefly talk about this, how's our prison system like, man, in Malaysia? To your like, based on your observation.
Not as bad as what you would see sometimes some documentaries, of prisons abroad and all. Ours is not that bad. Of course, being in prison itself is bad lah. It's not the best situation. Our prisons are overcrowded. I think we've got capacity for 55, but we've got about 55,000 prisoners, but our capacity is already at 65,000, I think. So we are overpopulated, our prisons itself. And the good thing is, it depends who to say the ketua block is lah. If he says keep the place clean, everybody keeps the place clean. So it's nice.
Depends on the management.
Depends on the management, right? And also who's the most respected person. Just say in my cell, just say there are 6 of us in the cell. Normally the oldest person is the most respected person, and he says, look, this is the schedule for the week. Okay, this week you clean the floors, tomorrow you clean the floors. So normally people follow because that's where you're going to sleep, that's where you're going to eat. So everybody's a bit respectful.
I really like. I watched Prison Break a couple of times, and I watched documentaries, Gangland. All these are covering like American prisons. Okay, but how's it like here? And like, do they have like gang systems as well?
They do.
They sure have, right?
But it also works with the privileges in the prison, right? Just say if suddenly a fight breaks out, nobody gets to watch TV. So that's how the wardens create a bit of control as well in the space, kan? So nobody wants to fight because they'll be like, fight, then everybody cannot watch TV, right? So it's a bit controlled.
I wonder, is it also like that in the American prisons? Because that one, it seems like they're always fighting and they're always stabbing people and shit.
Have you watched 60 Days In?
60. That one is. Oh, that one I don't really like that one because it seems very scripted and like.
A little bit, but it's quite authentic, lah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
The guy is put in Undercover, right?
Yeah.
So it's actually quite nice.
I didn't watch too much of it.
It's actually quite a good one.
Okay.
So I think it's a little bit of how the wardens in our Malaysian prison handle it as well, and I think they've been doing a reasonably good job.
I mean, these dudes, right? Like from the documentaries I watch, right? For them, right? Like, reputation is everything. Gangs is blood brothers and all. Some of them are there already. They're serving life. So if they have to take out someone from a rival gang or what, they will do so, and they're not afraid of any. They have nothing else to lose.
Nothing else to lose. What, life really? What?
But then they do have something to lose now, which is they cannot watch TV.
So when you're sitting down there the whole day, you cannot watch TV. Of course,
lah.
It's messed up, lah. People get upset, lah.
No, but. Okay, I stupid question again. Do they have any access to phones? I see some people recording, like on
not
TikTok.
legally, right? Legally, you don't have access. It's whether you get to smuggle it in or not, lah.
Okay, so these dudes post. I didn't see. Those are in not Malaysian prisons, but I see people like just posting videos of them.
I feel like the Mexican prisons and all.
They're just recording, doing TikTok shit. They're doing dances.
Maybe
literally they're doing dances.
Yeah, I've seen those things. I think over there their system somehow they've managed to manipulate it, lah.
Here, have you seen any on TikTok? Any local people?
No, I think if a video gets out, I think whoever made that video is probably going to.
He's not watching TV.
Not watching TV for long. Not watching TikTok anymore.
Okay. What's their entertainment stuff like apart from TV?
Reading.
Huh?
Yeah. They've got then you play chess, and then talk to people.
Sports?
They've got outdoor time. I don't really know about the sports one. I've never really seen that part of it. But I'm sure they do.
Do you know how many hours a day they get their leisure recreational stuff?
Ini I tak tahu. This I'm not sure.
Okay, but I assume it's probably like 1-2 hours only.
Possible. But I have to say our prison systems are not have also spent quite a bit on rehabilitating people. Right? You can actually, while you're in there, there are some universities who have like sponsored degrees, diplomas. So when you get out, you're actually educated.
Yeah.
So you can actually turn your life around.
Of course.
Yeah. So it's actually good that we provide that.
I actually talked about this a bit with a psychologist. So she's an addiction trauma specialist, and we talked a bit about how a lot more has to be funds allocated into rehabilitating these inmates, because they can come up to society again and be someone that contributes to our economy. It doesn't have to end, like it doesn't have to be in that dead cycle where they get out, go back in, get out, go back in, because they don't have much to live for. Perhaps they can be hope for them, but of course you have to there has to be a proper system to actually focus on rehabilitation.
Of course.
Yeah, so you're definitely very much for that.
I do. I think if not, you're just gonna have criminals come out and then they cannot find a job, and then they no choice, they have to then commit crime.
So most of our prisons here, they actually have a program like that?
They do. It's just whether you want to take it up or not, lah.
Oh, it's actually it's not forced, but then it depends on the inmate, lah.
I think it depends on the inmate, your charges, and also maybe how your conduct is. I think a few things come into play. Cannot be suka everybody do.
Okay, yeah, because there's also limited spots.
Yeah.
And also it's, I guess, your behavior so far, whether you are called. I see. So no, but that's a great system, because the inmates will be incentivized to behave properly.
Yes.
And that's if. But for those that are there for life, it's a bit different, the different story.
Then if you do it, you're just doing it just because you want to maybe upskill yourself lah, but you're not going to be able to use it outside lah.
Okay. Yeah. Bro, so just now we were talking about this, right? The criminal landscape in Malaysia right now, right? On the rise, you were talking about.
Yes. So because a lot of things have gone digital, the digital landscape of crime has actually increased tremendously. But also, what we've noticed a bit recently is that now that everyone is focusing on combating digital crime, we are still forgetting about the street crime that happens, right? The snatch theft and all that still happens. We are forgetting a lot about it.
So, sorry, is that... Let's exclude cybercrime now. We just go to the physical kidnapping, breaking ins, robberies. Is that on the incline?
I wouldn't want to say it's a steep incline. It's there. Slight. I don't think it's dropping lah. Right? Okay. I know during COVID, it tremendous drip, amazing.
I wanted to ask about that. So you're saying during that 1 to 2 years period, it dropped?
It dropped because you cannot go out. Right? So how to go rob people? you go out, you walk around, confirm you're going to get caught.
But also... but also another thing during the MCO period is people also, a lot of them lost their livelihoods. Right. So we would assume that the crime rate would have gone up because of that, but no.
No, not that, because a lot of it, like you said, if you put cybercrime aside, then not really. I said there is maybe a slight incline, but it was not something drastic lah.
Okay. You're saying.
So when we look at, let's say, digital crime now, things are crazy. You're talking about your credit card earlier, right? Getting stolen and all.
Not my credit card stolen, but that's the thing. You see, right? I don't even know, because I know for a fact, do not ever give your credit card details to anyone random stranger. So how did they get access to it? Let's just assume I only used it to purchase something from a credible store.
Let's just say you used it to purchase something online.
Apple store.
Let's just say. We don't know whether there's some leak somewhere, right? And that's how suddenly now all your 16-digit, your CVV, everything has been leaked. For example, many years ago, I think 2019, Malindo had a data breach, right? And everybody's details were out. So same thing, right? It's through data breaches that all this information. So, and the problem is, I think, is that most banks have not figured out what can they do next. But I have to say, I have to give credit where credit is due. A bank which was never known for credit cards has just come up with one of the smartest ideas. Alliance Bank actually has something called a virtual credit card. What's cool about that is, I was checking it out the other day, so cool, is that your credit card number, your 16 digits, only lasts for 30 minutes.
Oh, it's like a OTP code like that.
16 digits, you make a purchase, just say I buy something online, maybe I'm booking a hotel room somewhere. I put in the credit card details, my money gets transacted. After 30 minutes, that number is not valid anymore.
So they will probably send it to your phone now. Okay, this is your valid for 30 minutes code like that.
So they've got a app which you use. So you tekan, just say, okay, I want a one-time credit card number. I make my purchase in 30 minutes. That number is not valid anymore. Next time, just say tomorrow I click again.
Bro, that is the future.
It's so cool. It's cool.
And also, I'm very sure all the other banks, if they are aware of this, they'll be hopping on trying to implement that as soon as possible.
I hope they do, but I've never heard it. So I just happened to see Alliance Bank having it. I was like, wow, this is so cool. Why aren't more banks doing this?
No, because, bro, how much money they lose, in compensating people every time. They should have to work on it.
They should. I think more banks should pick up this, right? Yeah, but you should check it out. It's actually quite cool.
Like cyber scams, when did this start to take over drastically?
During COVID. That's the time, because everyone's at home.
Okay.
Yeah, everyone's at home, kan? That's the time, that's the time to scam people. Everyone's on their PC, everyone's on their phone. It's the best time. That's the time, drastic shoot, right?
So cyber scams, it's a lot lah. Phone scams, love scam, investment scam, whatever. Let's talk about love scams. I think that one's a very interesting one. Recently also, I watched this documentary on Con Mom. Do you watch that?
Okay, I didn't watch it, but I saw that on Netflix. Yeah.
That one is really, it's about this lady who is I think she's Malaysian. I don't even know whether she's Malaysian lah. But then most of her victims are from Southeast Asia. Okay. Right, and she's a really old lady, man. 80 years old. What she does is she's super good at it, man. Super professional. She's been doing it since she was young. She's already 80 years old, right? She pretends to be the grandma of people. And then at first she would tell them that she is the heir of a lot of money. From she's actually related to the Brunei royalties. Okay, so that's her cover. And she will go to places and, okay, I'll purchase for you this and that, buy a lot of things, 5-star hotels. Really, she just loves good wine, good food, nice hotels, and she's paying for things. But you know how a lot of scam works?
Yeah.
This is the first phase, right? You get their trust.
Yep.
Yeah. And obviously she's getting that money from
the other victims.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so the documentary was actually centered around this dude that was actually her real son. Okay. Real grandson.
Okay.
Yes. So I think he was in his 40s like that. He was a chef in Australia. Had a very rough childhood. Never knew who his mom was. Sorry, his
grandmother was.
Honestly, I can't. I think it's his mom.
Okay.
Yeah, not his. Yeah, mom. Not his
Okay.
grandmom.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So he was so happy to meet her, and then after he found out about, he started to put the pictures together, right, and found out that she's just scamming people, and then went and did the DNA test, and actually it is
his
his
real
real mom. Yeah. So it's tragic lah that
Yeah.
she's been doing this her whole life lah, So and then the moment he caught on to it, confronted her, she just disappeared lah. Yeah, so that's about it for a con mama.
Because the amount of money that you can get through conning somebody, it's huge, right?
Tell me about it, man.
So, but the thing about love scam is like what you said, right? It comes in various forms. One of it is interestingly pretending to be somebody's grandmother, right? But
that's also love.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
it's a different type of love, right? But I think the biggest thing about love scams is that these guys actually have scripts ready. And when they get in touch with you, there's a certain flow which they follow. Right? And these scripts, you have to understand something about scammers. It's not you against a scammer. It's you against an army of scammers. Right? They've got scam centers. Who do you think are in the scam centers? Psychologists. You've got copywriters. You've got IT guys. You've got engineers. All of these guys are there. This is like one of imagine the best kind of organization you can have.
Yeah, Google.
These guys are there, right? So these guys are there, right? So imagine this is like a Google version of a scam center.
It's well orchestrated,
extremely
scams,
right?
Organized.
So, of course, you as an individual, chances of you getting duped is so high because you are just one person. You're going against an army of people, and the scripts and all have been scripted. Okay, for Brian, we'll use this kind of script. For this person, we'll use this kind of script.
So most people, right, they will counter back and they will think like, oh, you have to be a fool and an auntie, probably a grandma or what to fall for this type of scams, because we are so aware of all this. But there's also that emotional side that they exploit.
When we talk about scams in general, who are the biggest victims of, because you said you must be fools, right? And that's what generally people say. Who are the biggest victims of scams in Malaysia?
Who? I would love to know.
Female teachers.
Age range?
I'm not sure about the age range, but female teachers
interesting.
are the largest number of scam victims in Malaysia.
Why so?
That's the thing that we don't know. I don't know whether it's because, they are teachers, then they look at the good in everyone, hati, tulus and all. So I don't know, but they are the biggest victims.
What if you have to guess? So you're the expert.
I would say it's just that maybe that, again, they see children every day. And maybe sometimes they forget about the dangers in the world lah. They see innocence every day. They just forget how crazy the world is lah. Maybe if I have to guess, it's probably that. If I want to be nice about it, but I really don't know what's the exact reason why the numbers so high just for teachers.
So these scams, right? We know that it is organized and it's in they're doing it with a whole team of people, right?
Yep.
How do they accumulate leads, phone numbers? I always wonder because I can think of a few ways. Actually, I don't know whether you tell me whether this is true.
Okay.
One scam that this was 2020, right? I started COVID time. Yeah, sugar mommy scam. I'm sure you know about this, right? It was. So the moment I saw it, right, I know it's a scam because the intro message is, we've got some wealthy wives of elites or whatever, and they will sleep with you for 10K per meeting, something like that. They'll send one big message straight lah. Okay, it's not I guess this sort of template message, right, is not as effective as building those where they actually get to know you. Hi, how are you? Blah blah blah. Those are more complicated. Yeah, but this one is like they're probably trying to mass capture, try their luck lah. So yeah, it was that type of message, right? So I play around lah.
You sure or not? Is that how you funded this podcast?
I wish lah, bro. Yeah, but anyways, I straight away play with them. You know, I asked them, oh yeah, then I say, can I see the mummies all? Then they show. Then I say, I want I want British mummies, I want Indian mummies. I say like that lah. Then they will struggle to find or like they don't know how to reply me. But anyways, I was playing with them. Then I noticed from one within the next week bro, I got more than 20. Way more than that. Just keep coming, messaging. Then I think, it's like they take my number and then they recycle the leads, the sort of. But one way that I think that they get my number from, right? Actually, I was using dating app last time, right? I talked to some account. I don't even know whether it's it looks suspicious or what. Probably not lah. I think so. This is how it happened. I gave my number, and then suddenly I haven't gotten a scam message in a while. And then maybe the next day or something, got a new scam message. And then I never hear from that dating app profile anymore. So maybe that's one of the way they collect or something.
There's actually a lot of way of collecting data, right? Especially people's contact details. You see, for example, for me to come here today to your place for the podcast, right?
You collect my data.
No, your guard collected my data, right? Your guard collected my data.
Oh, now I know.
So, but you see, I don't know whether he's going to sell my data. No, I'm not saying he is, but I say I don't know. So the same thing. Just say you go visit a friend in an apartment. You have to give your name, your IC. You go and take your driving license anyway. Your name, your driving license is there, which has all your details. Your phone number. You say, can I have your phone number? Can, and then I'm going to register your car for parking. I've got all your details ready. What else do I need? How do I know I'm not selling? How do you know that guy is not selling the data? So we don't know, right? But anyhow, the way you get somebody's number is through data leaks. And a number, depending on the details, if I've got credit card numbers, your name is suddenly a bit more valuable. If there's no credit card numbers, then it's just that, right? So a name can range between 10 cents to a ringgit to 250, depending on what information is in that.
Wait. Name alone?
A name with a phone number?
Yeah, phone number and email perhaps.
Probably 10 cents to 50 cents. Right?
So who and where are they purchasing? Because I assume they purchase in bulk.
Yes,
right.
Have to.
There's a lot of companies out there, companies operating legal businesses.
Yep.
Is it crazy to say that they might actually be selling some of our data too?
Maybe. That's why you've got the PDPA, right? The Data Protection Act that prevents any organization from, not say prevents, it reduces the risk, because if just say as an organization, my data gets leaked, which all my customer database gets leaked, I get a summon. So companies now are a bit more,
But bro, you how can you confirm that it was leaked from that company? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So companies have to report if there's any data breaches. But here's the thing. You as an individual cannot take action against me as a company, because you cannot confirm you got scammed because of me. But the government will summon me as a company, and there's a range of it. I think between 50 to 500K. You have to report. That's why you see like Malindo had a data breach. One of the other financial companies had a data breach. So somehow they have a way of figuring it out. And also, normally what happens when this data is on the dark web, generally somebody will figure out where the data came from, right? So that's how normally.
Sorry, what do you mean?
So just say now
I have a profile on the dark web. Okay.
No, you don't have a profile. Your data is being sold on the dark web. Okay.
No, but what I'm saying is like companies like that operating legal businesses, right? Is it crazy to say that some of them actually sell the leads?
Some of them on the side probably wouldn't know.
So like you said, you already know the market price.
Yeah.
Yeah. For what was it again?
It ranges from, it can be as low as 10 cents. It can be as low as 10 cents all the way to 250, depending on the information that's there.
It also depends on the quality of your lead lah. Yes, maybe these people are all finance professionals.
Or even better if you can sort it out lah. Okay, this one all bankers, this one all insurance agents. So okay, you want this one because I know then my...
Oh, they have... Yeah, I'm sure they do that also. They categorize.
Yeah, simple lah. They sort the data out for you lah.
Yeah.
Data management.
Yeah, bro. I was in real estate last time, right? I remember the first day of my work, right? First day go to real estate, right? Unfortunately, the company I was in, right, they didn't have many listings for me to property to sell. So I went there. My boss straight away gave me 2,000 numbers. And then it's all random. Yeah, I asked him like after a couple of months working, it's cold call numbers. Okay, I just had to call. There's no details. It's literally email, name,
phone number.
Information about them. Nothing, zero. It's the cold type of leads. I asked my boss. He said they just bought it from another agency.
Right, that's one. So, you see, for example, like sometimes when you've got surveys which are done online as well, right? Hey, a new property here.
Yeah.
Click here to fill it up, right? And then you fill it up. You don't know where your data is going.
It's worth money.
Suddenly you get SMS from all kinds of property agents, kan?
Yeah. Bro, something interesting, man. I think perhaps you saw this also. I think a couple of days ago, an is it ex Maybank or Maybank wait, I think I put it here. No, I didn't. Okay, but anyway, an ex CFO at or CEO of really
Top
high
guys
position. Yeah. She went on a Zoom call with Alvin Lim, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Alvin Lim or Lee is one of the Singapore Maybank's CEO. Okay, went on a Zoom call and Alvin was telling her to approve this transaction to a company in, I can't remember, Hong Kong, an overseas company, something like that. Yeah, and before she was already going to do it, everything was very, it seemed very normal, nothing suspicious. And right when she was about to do it, she messaged that guy personally on his number. And the Singapore Maybank CEO right here, he had no idea, And then it was, she didn't send through the money But anyways, it was a huge amount, and it was a deep fake video on that video call. Yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, something like Maybank complained or issue a complaint on the media for publishing this news or something like that. They don't want them to talk about it. You didn't see this?
No, but I've heard a similar case whereby same thing. She had a meeting not only with one person but 3 other people from the same company. Video call on one of the platforms, and all those people actually were all deepfakes, right? Of actual people in those positions, right? So one thing I think people need to realize is that cyber criminals are some of the most patient people you'll ever meet, right? Because when I just say I get access into your system,
the most patient, bro.
They will just wait and monitor to understand everything, right? So you collect all this information and then you reverse engineer everything. You figure out who's who, what needs to be done, how's the conversation, what kind of language is used. All of that's why I said they have a whole team, right? And that's how these things are done, because these kind of scammers are not 1,000, 2,000 ringgit scammers, They are 100,000, 500,000, 1 million kind of scammers, right?
There's a whole like department for them where they are the big dogs, the big guns. They focus on big deals, millions like that. I was watching this documentary on the Cambodia human trafficking stuff. Bro, tell me about it, man.
That is crazy. There was one a video which was and a raid which was done part of the UN as well. They worked together with them to try to rescue a lot of people in the scam centers. And if you realize,
sorry, could you like just describe how this operation is run and
all? So basically, what happens is that you get offered a job, right? And the job will say, hey, overseas job, maybe give us short description on it, 5,000, 10,000 ringgit salary. And here's the thing, then you go for an interview. The person who interviews you is not like what you think, one guy with tattoos all over. No, it's probably normal. It's probably one normal machi looking lady, come nicely. Okay, this is the interview process. I just want to ask some questions. So you build that trust, right? Especially somebody who's like very motherly or very corporate. So you think, this is legit. Okay, we've got a job offer for you here. It's going to go here, right? But on that day, when you take the plane and all, you end up somewhere else, and then they bring you into the scam centers.
You get into the car.
You get into the car, say, okay, come, because all your passports with them, what? Or if you figure it out, you say, no, I don't want to be part of it. You say, look, I've got details of all your family members. You don't follow me now, I'm going to kill everyone. Right? So you've got no choice but to follow. Right? And then you get into the scam centers. And the scam centers are not like some dodgy, half abandoned building,
Bro,
you've seen the videos.
I've seen, bro, they look like
MLC status building.
No, like no shit, right? Like for real, they look way better than our PPR flats.
Oh yeah.
Way better, more. They look clean and organized. A lot of cells, and there's a lot of floors, probably different departments. There's obviously they have that the working floor where all the computers are there. Literally, like you go into let's say you go to an office in a bank, right? It's something like that. Everyone's got their computers there, and you're there scamming. The only difference from a bank is, you've got people there with tasers and batons ready to whack you if you
don't hit your KPI, right?
And if you're falling asleep.
And if you're trying to ask for help, right? So they are there to whack you and all right. They're very, very heartless people, I have to say.
These are real, like, it's real hard criminals, People don't understand, like, they are real hardcore criminals. Most of these people, I've heard the people that, I guess the higher ups, right, they're all from China. They're all from China. They decide to go to Cambodia. And from the documentary I was watching, right, they are operating in Cambodia because they know that they've got connections to this person who has power, who's probably affiliated with the politicians or is a politician himself. Even I saw there was even like some associated with the prime minister and all, which is crazy.
It's crazy.
Bro. It's crazy stuff, and you would have to feel that if you are someone there, right, like one of the victims you feel so fucking helpless, And the buildings, right? Okay, bro, it's not just one building, for example, pickleball is a thing right now, right?
Yep.
Okay, the buildings there are popping up like
pickleball courts,
bro. Legit.
Yeah.
And these are not 2-3 stories, 10 stories.
10 stories.
Big operations of scam centers, and they're still developing more. And the local residents, not residents, civilians, all like living in other areas or whatever, they know exactly what's going on.
Of course.
Yeah, and like I said, you must feel so helpless, man, if you're one of those.
Of course, when you go there, you're like, oh, gone lah. Even imagine the locals there know what's going on, and they also cannot do anything about it because, like you said, maybe some of them connected to some big shot over there, and like you said, when they pop up, it's well-built buildings, right? So they've got good funding as well. Don't forget, in Malaysia also, in Cyberjaya, MSC status building was a multimedia super corridor status building, had a scam center running and nobody knew about it. One day, these are all the guys from China.
I don't know, bro. Tell me about it now. What was going on, man?
So basically, I think they were operating an online illegal gambling den. But they were the back-end operation.
Sorry, can you say again what's the building MSC is?
Multimedia super corridor. So certain buildings have that MSC status. So I think it's a certain requirement for like IT related buildings.
But what is actually supposed to be going on there legally, actually?
It's supposed to be an IT company. That's what they rented it out for. But they rented the whole building, the whole floor. Yeah. And one day, the police just did a raid because I think they had a tip off, and they did a raid. And these guys are jumping off from the 3rd floor building, trying to escape. I think they were mainly China nationals. Right, so so
the landlord the landlord probably was oblivious to it.
Probably, he thinks IT company, but you look at these guys also look like IT guys. They had tax, they'll go buy lunch, come back. Yeah. So how to know that these guys are running a gambling den over there?
And but perhaps that one is not human trafficking. Those are all voluntary scammers.
Never know, right? We never know. Also, I like to sometimes give the benefit of doubt to these guys that. At some point in time, maybe they realize, okay lah, this is not exactly the job I applied for, and maybe they had some heart and say, but no choice, right? If I don't do this, my life is on the line.
Remember when we there was a few cases came out in the news also. We rescued a couple of people from Cambodia, or Thailand. Yeah. The recent one was just a couple of months ago. I think 25 people came back, right?
Yep.
They said 80% of them were scammers.
Yeah.
So we rescued the scammers also, but they're Malaysian people. So these people, they went there knowing exactly what they were doing.
When it comes to money, people somehow can justify their actions when it comes to money lah, right? But don't forget, even here we have scammers. You don't have to go all the way there, right? So people will
scam centers here also.
Yeah, we've got scam centers here, but we got people who are willing to commit scam even here also, right?
I guess here it's probably not. It's definitely not as open and easy to get away with as compared to Cambodia.
Yeah.
Bro, that was just to paint a better picture for you guys, right? How open it is. The documentary I was watching, right? These white journalists, they are white people, okay, Americans. Obviously, they look like tourists or I don't know what they look. They're just white people, okay? They had hidden cameras. They went and meet with the recruiters. And exactly what you mentioned, they look like corporate people. Yeah, wearing their lanyards like that and dressed in corporate uniform. Meet at they actually go straight to the scam center, bro. Straight to the
very daring.
The white people, the journalists are okay, but they're going undercover as people who are interested in working as scammers. Yeah, so she talked to the recruiter, and the recruiter was like straight, very probably not honest about the salaries and all.
No,
okay, probably she's not going to tell them, yeah, you're not going to get paid in the end. Yeah, but she was telling them like, okay, this what you do. Then the girl asked, how. She said, this is all illegal. It's a fraud. We are conducting a fraud operation. If the girl asked, so how many days a week do you work? Oh, 7 days a work. 7 days a week, 24/7.
Oh shit.
No, but bro, it's like if the recruiter is saying that to this white person, right, who's pretending to be someone interested in being a scammer, they must, like you said lah, they're not short of bodies and manpower to scam. Which also makes you think that they probably they are actually making some money lah, definitely.
Not some money lah, it's in the millions, right?
No, I'm saying the
the victims.
Yeah.
Yep. The workers, right? The workers. I'm sure maybe there's some salary lah, or depending, I guess, on their work ethics, I guess. If you're a good worker, maybe I give you some money lah.
If you're someone who goes in there and then you act all fascinated with all the operations, you're like, oh, okay, then you make it known to your leader or the boss in charge, like, one day I want to be managing these people, blah blah blah. I'm gonna be your guy. Then you're not gonna get tasered lah.
Yeah, maybe.
You get to eat some sashimi,
True. You do what you need to do to survive lah, kan?
Yeah. See some tips when you go undercover, bro.
Yeah.
Have you ever done any like undercover work?
Not really. No. I think my face would be a bit of a giveaway lah.
I didn't think about that, bro.
No, I probably wouldn't last too long. Yeah.
But was that in your interest, like to work with the police?
I think I liked what they did, but maybe I didn't really enjoy the system behind it. Right? It's a very top-down system. You have to listen to your boss. There's no freedom for certain things on how to progress.
Understand.
So maybe that was one of the things that maybe I didn't entice me to join the police force. But I say, like, from time to time, if police officers and all call just for a bit of advice, always ready to help them out.
Understand. But also like you mentioned, is pretty much it's not an option anymore because people know you, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard,
Yeah.
Bro, I was listening to one of the guests on Joe Rogan's podcast, right? He's a professional double agent, Yeah, so he worked with all sorts of gangs, and the level of the level of relationship and bonds that he had to that he formed with those people. We're talking about biker gangs. What do you call that? White supremacists.
The
people.
KKK and all that. Yep.
No, not only KK. Not KK. What's it? They're anti-Semites.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay. They hate the Jews. I like regular. Of course, there's good Jews also.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. They just hate these people. So he talks about how, it all begins with you. Perhaps this bar that they'll hang out with. You already built your profile, your fake profile, everything. You're just pretty much you are a stranger from out of town.
Yep.
You meet these people, slowly get to know them. They like to drink and have a good time.
Yep. You
have a good time with them. You bond with them, and then you pretend to be having the same agenda as these people. You hate, you're a white supremacist, you hate anyone who's not white, this sort of thing. But he says that a lot of these groups, right? They keep an eye, on what they're actually doing undercover, but they don't act on anything unless the day comes. Okay, let's say for them, because these people, right, they work in the groups, right? They often talk about let's call it doomsday, okay, the day where they will carry out some crazy crimes, like kidnap some people or just kill some people. But they're not doing it often because they know they're going to... It's a high-risk sort of thing, right? But they're always planning this type of things. But the guy that's undercover, he's got to be so close until the point where he actually mentioned that it's one of his best friends, and it's the nature of the business lah. It's sort of you betray that person, but...
You save lives.
You save lives. Yeah. Not only that, bro, he worked with the child sex trafficking, ring
Oh,
pedophiles. Do you cover any of this stuff in Malaysia?
So you know, when I've sat down with a lot of criminals, and I the thing is, I'm not like him. I don't go undercover. I'm normally quite straight up. Say, hey, can I learn from you, right? But to a certain extent, you want to say, can I profile a person a little bit? Maybe a little bit. I walk a little bit. Maybe I talk to a person. I like, okay, maybe this person commits this kind of crime. I can profile a little bit. But the one group of people who, until today, I cannot profile are pedophiles.
So you actually got to chat with some of them?
I've sat down with people who have raped their children, who have raped their daughters, who have let their boyfriends rape their daughters, all kinds of things. Crazy stuff.
And they...
Don't forget, the worst pedophile in the world was caught in Malaysia. Not a Malaysian, but he was caught in Malaysia. There's his name, Richard Huckle, right? That's why I say we always remember only the bad guys, right?
Yeah.
Richard Huckle, he came to Malaysia on missionary work.
Oh!
Yes. So
Surprise!
yeah, so people will always... Pedophiles, one of the best ways to commit crime is to pretend to be pious, right? To pretend
What
to
is
be
pious?
Pious.
What is pious?
Religious.
Oh,
Alim sikit lah. Alright,
yeah.
so...
Kelantan. Yeah, what's up?
so
JSB.
JSB, right? You have the JSB case, but you know, speaking about like the JSB
Sorry.
case,
Do you know what? Yeah. Do you know what happened with the? I think when I last read, they got off. You know.
JSB?
Yeah.
I thought the case is still going on.
No.
Okay.
Some of them not got off, like they paid bail or something like that.
Maybe that happens,
crazy,
right?
man.
You because they were not the ones directly involved. I'm not sure. Maybe the big guy just paid bail to come out, right?
Okay.
But one thing I have to say, the good thing is at least we know so many children are safe now.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. But that's the one group of people, and why I can never tell who's a pedophile is because they are the nicest people you'll ever meet, and they are the best people around children. So it's so difficult to tell who's a pedophile. And the guy who came here, Richard Huckle, right, came on missionary work. He had this is how big of a pedophile is, and that's why he was branded the worst pedophile in the world.
Wow.
Yeah, that he actually has the title.
Okay.
Right, the worst pedophile in the world. He hung himself in prison in the UK. Hung himself, I'm sure.
How long ago was this?
I think they caught him maybe about 10 years ago, give or
It
take.
was big news though.
Big news in Malaysia. And here's the worst part, right? He mainly targeted B40 communities. And after they caught him, some people went to interview the parents of the victims, of these kids who became victims. And the parents refused to acknowledge that this guy would have done such a thing. To their own children, These are kids who said, this guy did this to me.
Because the parents also know him as someone else.
They all know him as Richard. They all know him as this guy who serves the community. They all know him as the guy who is the best friend the children have.
Sorry, was he like running he's a Christian now, is it?
Yes.
Yeah, was he teaching or something?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
He was teaching the religion, he was teaching the faith.
He's got maybe a church of his own?
He was here, he came to serve under one of the other churches. Right, so doing missionary work.
He had his own Sunday classes.
Possible, right? And he, in fact, on the dark web, had a manual on how to be a pedophile, because he's done it so much. Basically, like a Dummies 101 on how to be a pedophile.
He's an expert.
Expert. So he even wrote a book on it, right? I think it's a 600-page book on how to be a pedophile. But it was not the Malaysian authorities that caught him. It was the Australian and British authorities. They were looking for him. I think with the help of the Malaysian authorities, they got him out, right? But yeah. We had this worst guy here using religion as a means to commit crime against children. Yeah. And that's the worst thing. Right? And this is the biggest problem. And it goes across same with for example, I'm going to take the JSB case. When it came out, everybody was like, hey, no, don't talk about it. Then nama agama buruk,
Bro, that is just total nonsense. Yes. And I cannot accept that for 1 second.
Nonsense. Because to me, at the end of the day, if the name of the religion you feel is more important to protect the name of the religion than the believers of the religion, you've got a problem.
You've got a fucking problem, bro. You're not thinking straight, basically.
Yeah, because you're thinking of the name of religion, but what about the followers who are being abused? You're not thinking about, and here's the thing, it goes across every religion. Every religion in Malaysia has its problem.
No, the GISB thing, right, is because they know it's a ajaran sesat. So they think that, okay, it's nothing to do with Islam. It's just people are confusing that with the real Islam. Yeah. But still, it's not an excuse to not talk about it, because there's a lot of people teaching this type of ajaran sesat.
Yeah. In fact, I would think it's more important for you, if you're a believer of that religion, let's just say even the Richard Huckle one with the Christian faith and the GISB one with the Islamic faith, it's more important for you to stand up now because someone has used your religion as a means to commit crimes against children.
Which is something I cannot understand now.
So
really
why are you protecting everything? Talk about it. Catch the guy. Do whatever you want to do to the guy, right? Don't shy with the fact that he abused his position in your religion.
I don't know, man, bro. If you're asking me why they don't talk about, I don't know. I cannot understand. I guess it's a lot of societal pressures from maybe the people. Maybe they've, I don't know. Maybe their religious leader that is like telling them like don't talk about it, don't spread. It has to be someone that is one of the religious teachers that is telling them to do that. If not, it is. Sense.
You know, I've done a few of these cases, not that many, but I've done a few, right?
What sort of cases? Like,
so one of it was that, so when we hear about these allegations, sometimes the victim comes and talks to her about these allegations and all, but they sometimes don't want to make a police report, but they just want some sort of action to be taken, maybe by the religious committee, right? So once I had a meeting with one of these committees, and they were saying, give us the name. I said, no, you start up an external committee. Let me be part of it and my team be part of it so we know there's no hanky-panky going on. You set up an external committee to investigate this. Investigate, because these are allegations. I don't know if it's true also or not, right? This person could be making up this nonsense, right? But I say, set up an external party. We will help you with it, but we just are there just to keep the victim happy, potential victim happy, and to make sure the allegations are real or not real in the same time. And they say, no, give us the name of the person that's accused. I say, I cannot do that as well. Just say, if I give your name, Brian, just say,
yeah.
But you never did it. Right? But the fact that now people are talking about it, your life is gone. Right? So I'm being very fair to both the accuser and also the victim. And more often than not, I'm shut off. And there was once, someone in this committee said this, okay, we will discuss this, but I hope this girl... Sorry.
I'm a bit lost. So you're working on a case, you know of someone who is... this person is being accused.
So the victim came to us and said, hey, this person did this to me from this religious community.
Yes, understand.
So we went there, we sat with the committee.
What about the accuser? You didn't speak.
Someone on that committee is the one that's being accused.
No, accuser, sorry, the accused,
So
the person is also there.
The person is there. Sorry, the victim, is it? You're talking about the victim?
The
person is being
pedophile,
accused? Okay, but that person doesn't know that the person is being accused. I just say someone on this panel is being accused or something.
Okay,
right?
Yeah. But he's probably there lah.
He's there lah.
Yeah, he's
he just doesn't know he probably either knows or doesn't know it's him, right? So, and then at the end of it, and this is the thing, one of the female members of that committee said this, and this is why sometimes we say it's a bit weird. She said this, I hope this victim is not making this up. If not, any prospect of marriage for her will be gone down the drain. This is a female committee member who's talking about the victim. So there's already bias already.
She's a crazy person, or I don't know.
There's already bias even before, and you're telling me no, you don't want to have an external committee look into this.
Bro, I mean, this is you can sort of relate this to a lot of cults. A lot of cults. Let's say, for example, so like there's so many fucking cults where the figure on top, right, the cult leader has multiple wives or partners or whatever, and obviously the cult leader is also raping whoever or any of the followers or whatever. The wives and all, they all know know what's going on. They have to protect it lah. So you could say they're pretty much already brainwashed.
Yes. Yeah. So the brainwashing is part of it, but also it's very interesting how people manipulate religion for their own benefit, right?
I'm so fascinated with that. I mean, you see, right? You call it. I'm just fascinated with human manipulation lah. Religion or cults, I look at it as the same, because people in religion also can be hiding under a fake persona and also abusing the religion. So to me, it's the same shit. It's human behavior, human manipulation. Yeah.
So, but one thing interesting which I've realized, especially a lot with these rape cases, is that no matter what, for some reason, you can be the most religious person who has committed this kind of crime, and some way, due to lust, you're able to justify your actions, right? It's very interesting how they're able to justify their actions, and it's mainly because they cannot control their lust. The main reason why rape happens is because you cannot control your lust. It's not because the girl was dressed a certain way. No.
A person in a committed relationship cheats like that.
Yes.
he also can justify it by, oh, I just made a mistake lah, at that moment. But we will never really know whether he feels the guilt. Only he knows.
Only he knows. That's exactly right. And of course, we say he. There are also a lot of female pedophiles.
Like the Richard. What's his name?
Richard Huckle.
Richard Huckle. Like maybe it all added up when he was in prison, and that's why he hung himself.
Hung himself. I'm sure he didn't. I'm sure people helped him hang him. He definitely didn't hang himself. Yeah.
I don't know whether you. So I had Siti Kasih on the podcast.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And then she was talking about Zamri Winod, man. Do you know anything about his case?
Not really. No, I didn't really follow that. Yeah. Did she share anything interesting?
Bro, that was a real bro. It was. She basically came out and said her point of view. She was there also in court. Said Zamri. She was there in court. The victim was there also. A Chinese girl. Say went to his house. And then he raped her there. And then there was all sorts of evidence, and all the evidence were with the police, but there was no follow up. So it just stopped at there. Yep. The police didn't go further into it. And then you see because bro, this video had 600,000 views on Instagram, TikTok. It's still moving now, and the comments are like, oh, if he's really, because a lot of people hate Siti Kasim.
Yep.
So like, they think that, oh, she's just accusing people lah. Okay, fitna. If it's really true, right? How come Zamir Winod is not in prison? Blah blah blah. Saying stuff like that. But like, hey man, if they don't take action, how can he go to prison?
Yeah, exactly.
It's not just there's a process they must follow and must carry out for action to be taken lah.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, so that's the thing, especially when it involves high-profile cases. A lot of times it goes under the rug, right? So that unfortunately that's the problem in our system lah, which a lot of people have begun to accept.
Yes. Because we feel powerless, another reason why you feel powerless, right, bro? Let's be real honest, let's say, what happened to Teo Beng Hock, right? Because people, we see a lot of these cases, so people are very, very scared to speak out. Yeah. Whether or not you're a close family member, Teo Beng Hock's family actually spoke out a lot. Okay, they're really trying their best. But it's like people feel powerless because what, do you want to give your life? Yeah. How many people are actually people want to be superheroes, man? How many people actually want to fucking be there doing the real thing,
Correct.
Yeah, when shit hits the fan, right? You might, maybe you're
alone.
Yeah, maybe you're not meant to be that superhero.
I understand the idea of how it can get lonely sometimes in the journey, like in what we do with work as well. Yeah. So even like sometimes when we bring things up to certain religious communities, right, when we talk about rape or sexual abuse in some nature, it can get really lonely after that, because people who you think are your friends, suddenly because it's a religious issue, like, hey, you all shouldn't be going and doing this, you're going to make our religion look bad.
Are you speaking from...
I think out of experience. I've been in very lonely situations.
Are you a Christian or
no? I'm a follower of the Baha'i faith. So yeah. So even we have those issues, right?
What?
Baha'i, Bahai. So before you think it's an ajaran sesat, no, we are part of the. It's an actual religion. If you go, we actually registered under Jabatan Pendaftaran and all. In my IC, it will say Agama Baha'i.
Scientology also is registered.
That's funny, no. It's a good one. No, but yeah, we are registered as an official religion. We are worldwide religion. Yep.
Not saying anything about you, but there's there's so many, bro. Actually, I just watched the other day only in Japan. One of the scariest cults in Japan was registered as an official religion. I mean, it happens. You got legal religion. You got religions that are actually cults, but they are legal official religions.
Okay. But no, we are worldwide, so we are not a cult. So we're not just not in Malaysia. Yeah. But it happens in everything. Right? I'm not going to say, oh, it doesn't happen in my religious community. It does, right? So again, it can get lonely at times, but it happens in every religious community, and people need to step up and take action. If everybody is more worried about the name of the religion being exposed, that's the problem.
Yeah. I think that a red flag, right, is always when the religious community is centered around the leader. Yep. Too much, overly. Okay.
I agree.
There's this so-called Buddhist, one sort of Buddhist religion now. Okay. I saw a couple of their buildings, right? The building's like 3-story. The whole building is the face of their leader.
Oh, really?
Yes, and there's one at Aman Surya, bro.
Crazy.
And then when I see that, right, I saw it once only. What is this place? It looks like a Buddhist. It's like a Buddhist temple like that.
Yeah.
But obviously, got aircon and whatever. It's a modern temple, lah. Okay, and then I go and Google, just when I Google, all the cases come out. Oh, this guy is a cheat, is a liar, blah blah blah. The only thing that put me off, right, was a big picture of himself. And when I saw that, I'm like,
so
what the fuck, bro? It's all about him. It's always all about you. It's a red flag.
Yeah, it is definitely a red flag when you see things like that, right?
So just now we are talking about sexual predators, right? You've spoken to some of them, right? Tell me about the psychology of these people.
Okay, so I think one of the very interesting things that I learned from these guys is this, right? Especially fathers who rape their daughters, right? Is that I asked them, I said, hey, not weird, Then he says,
I can't even imagine you asking him that way. It's like not
it's
weird
process.
you asking him.
Yeah, it's a process, lah. But it's hey, not weird, you doing this with your daughter and all. And then he's like, a lot of them normally the answers are like,
fuck you. I don't know, bro.
So that's the thing, right? When you do something like what I'm doing, you must have a lot of patience
and balls also.
And you must be able to psychologically push this all aside. If you don't have the right mental strength, you will crumble, right? So normally after I do my sessions, I go out, I do 3 things, right? Just before we come back to it, but 3 things I do after I interview prisoners. I pray a lot, I play sports, and I watch a lot of comedy.
Your therapy.
That's my therapy. If not mentally, I will crumble. But just saying that about mental health, that is why sometimes I think people fail to realize the police have sometimes a lot of dark humor and people get upset about that, right? But you have to understand that's their outlet. Every day they are seeing dead bodies. Every day they are seeing crime. They see the worst in society.
Yeah. People don't know about this shit, okay? But I'm sure you consume a lot of Western content, right? That is much more spoken there. Okay, let me ask you, like, is police, for example, are they allowed to go on podcasts? They're not, right?
Nope.
Yeah.
Because you might say something that's off.
Maybe.
Or something that's true.
Maybe an ex-police, they are legally allowed to, but they probably choose not to.
Yeah.
But I'm saying there are so many police that go, it's Joe Rogan's podcast they went on. Not just his podcast, a lot of American podcasts, retired police officers or whatever. So they talk extensively and very detailed about PTSD and the suicide rates of
police officers.
Police officers, post their career. They talk about that very openly. So it becomes like a very known thing. We are educated on it. And this was only in the last, I would say for me myself, only less than 10 years. I've heard about this. But in Malaysia, we don't talk about it, so that's why people don't know.
It's because you're expected as a police officer to be tough.
Yes.
If you are going to crumble, you're not suited for this job, right? Yeah. That's the mentality we have. And then sometimes when we go to a station, you see the police officers laughing. You must understand that's their outlet, right? They need it. If not, they are going to crumble. We have police officers who have committed suicide. So many of them.
I would assume so. We are no different than police officers in other countries. The shit that we handle is crazy.
I have a friend who's a police officer. He was a junior in my uni. He works at a certain station, but he stays in a different state. Every day he travels. And I said, hey, it makes more sense for you just to shift home and rent a house. He said, no. He told me, Shamir, no. If I don't stay here, after work, what's going to happen? I'm going to hang out with these police officers and we are going to talk about work. And it's just not mentally healthy. For me, the drive back home, that 1.5 hour drive back home, is my outlet just to disconnect from work. Right, I need it. If not, I cannot do my job.
Listen to a comedy podcast.
Listen to Let's Get It podcast.
Can.
So coming back to crimes against children. So I asked them, I said, hey, dude, not weird. You're sleeping with your daughter. He said, of course, at first it's weird, but after a while, it becomes normal. The same thing as you steal once, it's scary. After you steal many times, it's normal, right?
Understand.
So, and then I said, okay. And then he shared something very interesting. He said, I still love my daughter, but I started to love her more like a girlfriend than a father. So I said, can you elaborate more? He said, okay, he gave one example. He said, one day I saw my daughter texting a guy. So instead of what a father would do would be feel protective, he felt jealous. So that's how the mind changed, right? That's why suddenly it became okay to sleep with the daughter.
Yeah, and bro, so I've talked about this on this podcast before. Okay, one thing people don't understand about child sex predators, right? I'm not trying to justify their actions by any means, but this is the reality of their psychology, okay? Because there was this channel I watched, Soft White Underbelly. Perhaps you are familiar. No. Yeah, Soft White Underbelly. This dude, the creator Mark Laita, what he does is he started off in a skid row in America, which is really densely populated area with all the homeless people and all sorts of dark shit goes on there, okay? You got prostitute, drug dealers, drug addicts, mostly pimps, whatever, gangbangers, they're all there. He interviews all of them, and obviously he pays them a little bit just to do it's just an interview of asking them about how their lives is, or about the crazy stuff that they do, okay? He's interviewed a lot of sex predators, child pedophiles, a lot of them. All of it was the same story. They were molested when they were young. And it was severe. The mom, the dad raped them. Could be the mom also. The parents are both in on it. The sisters, like you said, they meet the parents' friends also. They offer to sleep with their own children and all that. So I don't know how to explain it, but that's the one common denominator from all these pedophiles, and it's sort of like when they, of course they were so fucking hurt and broken by it when they were young, and then when they grow up, eventually they become the monster that they despise, and they're terrified of their whole lives, So it's I don't know how to make sense of it, but that's the pattern that we see.
It's the same as a cycle of abuse, right?
Yeah.
If you're abused and then suddenly the cycle seems normal, either you become the abuser or you allow abuse to happen. It's just that whole thing of being in that loop lah. You are what you are in your surrounding, right? So that's the problem with these things. And true, sometimes you've got issues like this where a lot of them were victims when they were younger themselves, and suddenly that becomes the norm, right? That becomes the norm.
Maybe they might not say, they might, in an interview, they might say that, they blame it on lust or what, but I'm fucking sure they hate themselves, man.
When somehow lust comes in, everything is forgotten.
For that moment.
After that, when everything's done, like, oh no, I hate myself, I shouldn't have done this. But then suddenly when you suddenly get the lust again, then you forget everything again. One time.
It's a real demon, dude.
Yeah, it is. But the people who do it some people just shouldn't have children. That's the thing.
Yeah.
They shouldn't have children. Your job as a parent is to protect your child.
Yeah.
That's it. Full stop. Nothing else.
Yeah.
Not to take advantage of your children.
Yeah. But your parents never protected you.
Yeah.
And somehow
that goes again, the cycle.
You're gonna be you yourself are gonna be down on that in that road, lah. Yeah. Bro, you were talking about some of the cases you worked with.
Yeah. So like we said, like we've got parents who do it, fathers who do it to their daughters, and then you've also got mothers who allow their boyfriends to rape their daughters, right? So
you're talking about it can be it's not only in the teens, like from very young also.
Some very young, some much older. That's the thing, right? When it comes to sexual lust, sometimes people have got weird kinks, right?
Yeah.
So and then they allow people to abuse their own children.
Yeah, but especially underage, right? It's like not underage, but I guess even the really much younger,
like toddlers and babies and
under
all,
10 now. Okay, you don't know how to escape, man.
Yeah.
You cannot do anything. Maybe when you're a bit older, right? There is a way for you to try and escape, but especially when you're really young, you're just trapped,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you cannot get help, and the only help that you can get is sitting down there and watching, right? And then like you said, some of them are in groups, right? Like Telegram groups and all, and then they sell their stuff there, or they meet up with other people. They do it to each other's children. It's crazy. It's a crazy world out there, bro.
Have you ever infiltrated any of these Telegram groups?
No,
Undercover?
I wish somebody would accidentally add me into one just to see what's going on. But I had a buddy who was trying to do this. It's very interesting.
Trying to infiltrate.
Yep. So there was this church that actually. This one I have to say, this guy did a good job. I forgot the name of his church, but the pastor's name I remember. His name is Pastor Cal, short for Calvin. I have to give him credit because he acknowledged that this kind of issues are going on, and he created an app called Be My Protector. any form of abuse, you report it there. He will try to get in touch with the right agencies to help you out. Right, so he and then there was a guy that worked very closely with him. His name was Roland. So I worked very closely with them on some of these things, right? And I have to say, for a church to take initiative to do that,
Yeah.
I really,
You have to respect,
I respected him
Yeah.
so much. I still have a lot of respect for him.
because the
Like-
same thing about the GISB where people don't want to voice out, it's the same shit with Catholic churches. the
Total
same.
opposite. He said, no, these things are happening. I'm going to be at the forefront of
You
this.
want to know what's crazy? Now that we're in this realm of what do you call this? Psychopaths and all, right? What if he is all the front?
Then-
A great cover.
A
You know what
great
I'm saying?
cover,
Yeah, I'm just saying. Okay.
Yeah. No, Pastor Cal.
Pastor Kel, you're cool. I
He's
don't know.
cool, nice guy, very nice guy. Yeah, but that's the thing, right? You have Telegram groups where people sell videos of their children. People sell this. So it's a sick world out there. Right? You've got people who will find any way to justify their sexual kinks.
Yeah. Hey, bro. Let's talk about some like physical crimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw your really popular video. Yeah. You guys, bro. This dude, he knows how to break padlocks, easily, right?
Yeah.
Within a couple of seconds, you could what do you call that? Unlock a padlock,
Yeah.
break it lah, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. And is this knowledge that most criminals are actually they are using it?
So actually, this is how they do it, right? People think, certain padlocks are safe because it looks heavy, it looks big. Your grills are safe.
Yeah.
Your smart door system is safe. For those of you who are wondering what we're talking about, it's lately I've been posting some videos on how do I bypass these systems, right? And but that's the one thing I've made very clear is that it's because these are cheap systems, right? These are cheap padlocks. These are cheap locks. And the mechanisms are in this kind of things, it looks durable.
It looks big.
It looks big. In fact, on the board, when I bought one of the padlocks, it said, anti-cut, anti-drill, anti-Allen key. All those features are there. But it didn't say anti-break. So I just, if I cannot do that, I'll just break through this thing. Right? So...
what are you actually doing when
so,
you...
So over there, what I did was there is the bottom part of these padlocks,
Yeah.
which is it's never welded in, right? So what I did was I just removed that part of it, and then it gives me access to the tubular, and I just pull the whole thing out. Basically, I just dismantle the whole lock in a few seconds, right? So when you get low quality stuff, that's how fast it can happen. I'm not saying with the high quality stuff it cannot happen. It just takes longer, right? It might take longer.
You basically, whatever padlock, if it looks like a padlock like that, you know how to break
There's
it.
probably a way to get past it. I've not tested a lot of padlocks. A lot of padlocks are very expensive.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to send me their padlocks, please
Yeah.
do. I will test it out, and if it's good, I'll give you a good review. If it's bad, I'll share it with you guys, right?
Bro, something also I saw you do is like, so let's say you go to an Airbnb or
Yeah.
hotel or whatever, right?
Mm.
Your door to enter your hotel, you
The
got a
smart
card.
lock.
You got a card, ma. So
Yep.
it's like a automatic lock system, ma.
Yep.
But you can open that as well.
Yes.
What
so,
were you using?
So I don't want to tell the name of the device, but it's a device.
Sorry, but can you?
It's not an illegal device to hold.
What?
It's not illegal.
But yeah, okay. From what I saw, right, that was I saw your video. That was an apartment door, right? Is it?
It was an Airbnb.
Yeah.
Yeah. It
So
was an Airbnb.
with that device, right,
Yeah.
you can go to any Airbnb door.
Some. So when what happens is that it detects the encryption of the card first, right? So if the card has low encryption, it's easy to bypass. If the encryption of the card is good, I have to say there are some doors which we couldn't bypass because the encryption of the card was just that good.
What does encryption means actually?
So your access cards, right? There are codes in there. So certain codes are easy to break and certain codes are not. And you've got different kinds of encryption. You've got encryption A and encryption B. So it gets very technical. It's a very science. It's a very IT thing.
It's like coding.
Yeah. So the more features or more security features or protocols you have in that card, the safer it is.
Yeah, but basically the gadget that you
Yes.
were using,
Yep.
you just place it on top and it would automatically figure out.
So what we did in that video was actually we got hold of the card first, and in a second we were able to get the data off the card, and then we just put it on the door so the encryption cracked, right? So if you get cheap quality stuff, that's the problem. You have to get stuff which is actually of good quality, and then you will know that, okay, at least it's secure. You have to understand one thing: there's no 100% foolproof system that's going to protect your home. Nothing. No way. There's always a way to break into a home. What locks and doors do is that it slows down the process. That's what it does. So the sturdier the lock, the better the quality of the lock. It just takes longer. That's it.
Okay, but actually, the truth is, right, a lot of the robbers are actually not. They also are not aware of all this stuff. They
Oh
don't.
no, actually they are. How do you think I learned it? It's not something I figured out.
Oh fuck! I thought you learned online.
No man, it's what people have taught me.
Okay.
I'm not a genius. You have to understand. My knowledge comes from the grassroots.
And also, these robbers got internet lah. They know how to
Yeah.
find also online.
You have to understand. Nobody is more creative and resilient than a hungry criminal. All right. When was the last time? And you have to understand. When was the last time you heard a criminal say, "Oh man, I'm a bit stressed today. I don't feel like robbing a house." They are always going to like, nope, I need money, I'm going to rob today.
From what I heard is a lot of the times these robbers, right, they are so daring and brave is because they're on drugs.
It either drugs or alcohol, or sometimes it's just adrenaline pumping in you, right? So even when we do these videos, right, I have to say I understand the thrill behind it. Because the first time I actually used a lock picking device and it worked. I was like, oh my god, it's so cool. Let me do it again. I didn't think it would be that easy. Then I was like, oh, let's do it again. Let's try with a different lock, right?
So what happened? I saw you were even testing out the Tesla's security
Oh
system.
yeah. So I have to say, we did a few tests and most of it was good. So I always give credit where credit is due. What happened with that device was what caught us off guard is that it was a preset function in that device. So all I did was I went into that device, which you see in the video, and I scrolled down to a Tesla, which was already preset in my device. I didn't crack this thing. It was already preset in that device. I pressed it and suddenly the charger port opens, right? But I have to say, somebody gave me their card key to try to open the door and we couldn't. So those are good encryptions. Right? We want to talk about encryption. That's a good encryption.
Okay, but you can access the petrol.
But the petrol pump again, like, is quite a basic thing, like. But even then, for us to be able to do that with a third-party device which came pre-set is quite interesting.
So when you say third-party device, you mean you can just purchase this at any shop?
Okay, if you ever see this being sold on Shopee, Lazada, it's probably a fake device. This thing is not cheap. It's not cheap. Nor is it that easily available. There are always limited units that go out.
What else? So. What other than Tesla? What other things, other functions are there?
It came pre-recorded with a lot of codes for smart doors, smart locks. So it came pre-recorded with that. It can also detect if you use the older cars and all. Then it can record your
cars.
Yeah, your key lock.
So like so for example, like my car, when if I've got my key with me, I don't have to press the button. I just go to the handle and.
So the newer ones are more secure. There's something called a rolling code on it. So it's the same like what I explained with the Alliance Bank virtual credit card, right? Every time it changes. So same thing, a rolling code. The good thing about the new cars with the rolling codes is that like any new car with the keyless entries, right? Those have rolling codes. So every time you open the door, a new code is put in the next time. Okay. So that's a good one. But the older ones where I have to beep beep and start myself, those ones can be stolen with the device as well. And then the device is quite cool. You can steal Wi-Fi passwords, and also it's actually quite a versatile tool.
Yeah. Bro, so like talking about residential, let's talk about residential break-ins. How easy is it to break into someone's house, and what sort of preventive measures should people be taking?
Okay. Let me ask you this, and I hope that those who are listening as well, let's take a minute just to figure this out. Okay, 24 hours in a day, there are home break-ins. 24 hours in a day. There isn't a time where there isn't a home break-in in Malaysia. What time do you think is the most common time for home break-in?
3 a.m.
3 a.m.? Okay.
4 a.m.
4 a.m.? Okay. I hope the listeners have and those watching have already maybe figured out the time. The most common time is 8 a.m. to 10 a.m.
Right when they are leaving for work.
So, it's more of, that's the time one you're leaving for work. Second, this is also the time where maybe either your elderly parents or maybe your mate is cleaning outside the house, watering the plants.
Oh, people are at home.
Yeah, people are at home, right? And that's the time you want to break in. Because that's the time when they're watering the plants, the door is open, the gate is open.
Oh, it's not really a break-in.
It's a walk-in. So it's convenient because now, just say your mom is downstairs, she's watering the plant. Nowadays, when people want to break into your homes, like if you're not home, it's going to take time for me to ransack everything. But if you're home, this 8 to 10, you're washing your plants, I come in, I point a parang at you. Okay, faster take the gold and give it to me. Faster take the money and give it to me. Right? People are more compliant. So a 30-minute break-in becomes a 2-minute job. Right. So that
Wow.
is why.
They're thinking speed.
Yeah, and this is based on statistics, right? 8 to 10 has been the most common time for home break-ins in 24 hours a day.
And bro, can I ask you, are you also speaking to people who they do residential break-ins?
We've met a lot. Like I said, I've all the way from small-time petty thieves all the way to pirates. I've sat down with them all. Right.
These are not the ones in the prisons that you meet.
Both. I said a lot of guys in prison as
So
well.
the question is, right, if they're not in prison, what are they doing?
What are you doing talking to me? You have to understand. Okay, you have to understand one thing about the prison system as well. Not say prison system as well, is that only if you get caught and you're convicted, you get put. And you're put in prison, right? If not, you're caught. Sometimes you're like, okay, sorry, I give you. So here's what happens in most cases. You say I've broken into your house, and then now I've stolen quite a bit amount of things. I get caught, and I tell you one thing. Look. Now you've caught me with nothing on me. I'll give you back everything. Just say the police can't catches me because your CCTV showed my face lah, clear as day.
Yeah.
You all have caught me. I'm in lockup now, and I tell you, look, I will give you back whatever I have balance. Maybe 70%. I'll give you back because that's what I have left. You drop the charges against me. Okay, like what will you say? Okay, I rather have my money back. If I go to prison, you don't get your money back.
I mean, unless your insurance can cover.
Unless your insurance can cover lah.
Yeah.
So
yeah, like fuck you, criminal.
Yeah. But most people don't like to go through the hassle, right? They'll say, okay, now give me back my money, I drop the case.
Most people.
Yeah, so it's us also lah, kan?
Yeah. Can I ask you, right? Because robbers, right? Some, who knows, man? I would like to assume that most of these people who commit robberies, right? They never go to the end of their lives without getting caught lah. They eventually get caught. So how many, and they do many they've done it many times. How many percent of break-ins, right, actually end with successfully catching the robbers? If you can roughly estimate.
I think this would be a good question for the police actually. I really don't know that number.
I think the police will give you the same answer. This is a good question for I don't know who, but I also don't know.
Yeah, but that's why police cannot come on podcast, right?
Yeah.
But I really don't know this number. I don't want to give a statistic which I could be wrong lah.
The truth is in the low tens or like that probably.
Possible.
Okay. Because there's a lot of robberies and not
enough.
It's not every time that after someone robs a house they get caught lah.
Yeah, true. And some way, it depends a lot on CCTV footage, and also as after the CCTV footage, so is it clear, not clear? They use a mask. How do I know it's you? Was the number plate fake? So many variables, right?
There's a lot of layers to this that people think that it's so simple. You just catch the guy and then convict.
Yeah, people always think the job of the police is very easy. Hey, just there what you can catch what? No, it's not that easy. Catch also, then I need evidence. If not, I cannot prosecute you.
Dude, something I thought about, right? The job and responsibility of being a policeman, right, is huge. Okay, it's so fucking important for our country, the safety of our country, progression of our country, everything.
Yeah.
And especially if you want to highlight the salary that they're getting for it,
I agree.
that is, police is one. Another one that
Bomba.
I almost forgot about Bomba, but I want to say teachers as
yeah.
well. Teachers,
Yeah, I agree.
but now like for police, right, bro? You obviously it's better to have someone who is highly motivated.
Yeah.
And you can't exactly say that every policeman is there because they've always wanted to be a policeman.
True.
It's been their passion and they are super dedicated. Some are there just because they could not find any other opportunities.
Possible. Or they are there because it's a respectable job.
Perhaps.
People respect the uniform.
Perhaps. Yeah. But if you're not incentivized well enough, right, you might not do the best job lah.
I do agree 100% with you. I think there was one of the high-ranking police officer. He said, the minute you graduate to be a police officer, automatically you're a B40 citizen.
Woo! That's a fact, sir.
Yeah, that's a fact, right? You're automatically a B40 citizen. But here's the worst part, right? Why are we not paying police officers better salaries? So of course, because they're not paid better salary. I'm not justifying their actions, but that's why they take duit copy here and there, right? No choice.
100%, bro.
Yeah.
No choice, bro.
I am risking my life for yours, and I'm getting paid a shitty salary.
Yeah, I'm getting paid this salary.
Yeah.
And then my kid doesn't have enough food.
Yeah.
How?
How?
Yeah.
Same with Bomba. Same with Bomba. I've sat down with bomba officers, and the stories they tell me, I'm like, dude, you put your life on the line like this. How many firefighters have died on the line of duty, right? And the salary they get, oh my God,
Yeah.
pittance, not enough to survive.
It's minimum.
Yeah, minimum wage.
I mean, the bomba, bro, I call the bomba, they straight away come to my house,
Yeah.
man. You have to catch the snake. It's a tiny snake, bro. they
All
really
that.
legit came. Yeah.
But that's the thing, right? I feel in order to get officers to work better, and in order to reduce crime in the country, pay police officers a much better salary so they're incentivized. And two, I agree with you, teachers need to be paid a much higher salary so
course,
that
bro.
they provide better education for our children. I always believe education is one of the ways you reduce crime in a country.
Why do people trust private education centers more? Right, going to a private school. Probably because the employees there are better paid. You know, perhaps they're happier with their job. They're more motivated. And we know that in private schools, right, the education system, discipline, it is better. There's a reason why people don't just pay for no reason. Yeah, the quality is better, and perhaps it is the pay.
Yeah, but also the other thing is why people send their kids for private education, because parents have more say in things as well. They're like, hey, I'm paying you a high amount.
100%.
I have certain say in certain things, right? That's why the schools are very strict. They're very prim and proper in how they do things.
Bro,
right?
I went to public school, right? I punting class and I got away with it. My friends in private schools, they don't punting class, bro. You cannot punting class. You punting class, bro, you're suspended. And your parents are going to know.
Yeah.
My parents never knew.
Until today, lah.
No, they know because they listen to podcasts. And I said it before. But they never knew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you pay for it, right? So that's why if government school teachers are paid better, you will have better educated children. You will have teachers who want to be teachers, right? And then you won't have 6:30 students coming out as well.
So we over here, right? Because I grew up in Malaysia. I'm so accustomed with the fact that policemen, teachers, right? Let's talk about policemen. Okay, for this case, they are getting minimum pay lah. That's for, of course, your entry level, right? Of course, there are also entry level jobs that you get paid much higher. But I'm saying for police, I'm not informed on this, but do you happen to know about other countries? How does it work? Like, do they get a better pay? Like, let's just say for entry level for police.
Yeah, I think for Singapore they get paid well. I was in the Middle East once, and I know their officers get paid well.
Singapore, do you happen?
I don't know what the salary is, but what was interesting when I went to Qatar once, and I had a buddy over there, and he told me something very interesting. He was a manager in a company there, and he said, Shamir, do you know my salary, what I'm getting, is the same as a manager. My salary as the manager is the same as what a local entry level admin is getting. So I said, why? He said, doesn't make sense. You're a manager, the person's admin. Because he's a foreigner.
Okay. He's a foreigner. Okay.
So here in Malaysia,
yes,
foreigner come, we pay 10 times more.
Sorry, your friend is Malaysian.
My friend's Malaysian.
Yeah, then it doesn't make sense
it
to
doesn't
us.
make sense. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Right? He is getting a salary which is what the admin is getting, a local admin person. Because here, foreigners, we pay 10 times more. Locals, we pay 10 times less. Over there in Qatar, what was interesting was they take care of their people first. You're a foreigner, you get paid less. We will pay our people more.
Yeah.
So that's, if that was done in Malaysia, would be wonderful lah.
If you are Mat Saleh in Malaysia,
untung lah.
Yeah, you're having good opportunities.
The skin
everywhere.
color plays a big thing lah. I pity people with my. I'm sure you've done a lot of podcasts.
Hey, some people call this podcast Let's Get Indian podcast.
Yes, you keep having Indian guests.
Bro, it's a lot of Indian guests, bro. Damn a lot.
You need more non-Indian friends lah.
Dude, the Indian community is very supportive. I noticed that if you want to compare, right, Indian, I'm talking about engagement online, right?
Yep.
Indian community, views to likes ratio is very, very high compared to I think English urban market, right? English is probably the least because English, we are always comparing with overseas content and such shit like that lah, competing with that lah.
Yeah.
So it is harder and different.
So the next step is now you must start learning Tamil lah, and then we can
that one, bro. That one will boost the engagement a lot.
I'm sure they say, Chinese guy, Tamil பேசுறான், okay, check up now, support பண்ணுங்க.
That's how it is in social
Yeah,
media.
yeah, it is, it
yeah.
is.
Dude with a Chinese dude speaking Tamil language. Everyone's gonna. If you're a, there's a lot of Indian people that speak Chinese.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hindra, do you happen to know
Yeah,
Hindra?
I've been for his comedy shows. Nice. The guy's quite funny.
He's good.
He's
bro.
funny.
He's not just quite. He's one of the one of the really good ones.
And his Chinese, his Mandarin is
Well, it's SPM level.
wow.
Primary school, I know. I don't know whether he took it for SPM now.
Okay.
But primary school is already good training, right, bro.
True.
Way better.
Did you go to Chinese school? No. Are you banana lah?
Banana fool, bro. Yeah. And then I would assume, right, because when I went to secondary school, a lot of my friends are from Chinese school, just the neighborhood school, right? So I thought like, I'm in Form 1, this is my first day of school.
Yeah.
I'm meeting people who are from Chinese school. By Form 5, okay lah, can converse. I need to learn how to tule lomo. That's about it lah. Okay.
All the bad words only, yeah.
Yeah, bad words only, bro. Yeah, chibai, all those. Nothing much lah.
Yeah, so I think we were speaking about the police officers and teachers being paid better. Yeah. So definitely, I've got friends who are teachers and you know they are passionate about their job, but sometimes the bureaucracy, the red tape, and also the salary can be a big demotivator lah.
Do you have, just now you said you say Singapore they pay well, but do you have any idea the number?
Not really. Not really. I don't have the exact figures.
I just think that it's really, really weird if the pay is so close or similar to minimum wage, not minimum wage, sorry, like entry level of most other jobs. I think it's very weird that a job like a police, you can get paid like that, you know.
True.
Yeah. It is a big flaw.
It is. You're risking your life, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you want to say, oh, it's a noble career and all. Yeah, but you should be paid well. You know, your life is on the line.
Yeah, and on the other hand, we get really angry when they talk about corrupted polices.
But we get angry when we talk about corrupted police, but when we get caught on our handphone, we will be like, bang, settle bang. Yeah, so
I don't know what you're talking about, bro.
we contribute to it lah.
So, Botak Chin is a legendary name to a lot of people our age. My age maybe. I'm not sure about your age.
I don't think we're that far apart lah in age.
Yes, but yeah. Also, our generation, Botak Chin he was already a legend story. Yeah, Bentong Kali as well. Yeah, tell me about Botak Chin, man. What was he? Why is he actually so well known?
So if we look at like cases like names like Botak Chin and Bentong Kali and all, right? What was interesting about them is that they made a name for themselves. I think Botak Chin, what made him famous was like he was the Chinese version of Robin Hood lah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He used to take care of the kids in the neighborhood. He used to make sure, okay, you got no money for this, I'll give. But he was also a criminal, right? And Bentong Kali, I think what was that he was actually a very notorious guy, and people were very fearful of him. That's why, and he was very brave.
Were they during the same era? No, right?
I think about the same time lah. That was a peak. A peak where these guys police were trying to crack down a lot of these guys. And I think what made Bentong Kali famous was that he was very daring in front of police officers, right? So maybe lower ranking police officers were scared of him as well. He was those guys that you cross me, I will kill you kind of thing. Whereas Botak Chin was the one that took care of the community, right? So, but I think what's important that we need to understand is that, you see, we have glorified crime to that extent where we know the names of all these criminals, but we don't know the names of the heroes behind it, right? So, very simple one, all watching over here, you know Botak Chin, you know Bentong Kali. Do you know the names of the police officers that caught these guys? Not a clue, right?
Yeah.
We don't know any of this,
yeah,
right? But these are the guys like we spoke about earlier. They are paid a minimum wage. They've sacrificed their life, and nobody knows their name. Whereas you know the name of the guy that has robbed everyone.
Yeah.
You've made him a hero. You've made documentaries of them. You've made movies out of them.
Yeah.
Right? Mona Fendi, we made a movie out of her. Right? Yeah. But
that's crazy, man.
We glorify criminals, right? That's the thing. We glorify crime so much. Why you think people want to commit crime?
Is it glorify? Is that the correct word?
Definitely. You give a person a certain nickname, right? It's like giving a person Jack the Ripper.
And also the Robin Hood shit lah, which is robbing the rich to pay the poor. Yeah, that is glorifying because you're shining a bright light on him. Yeah.
You know, and we give cool nicknames, right? We don't give like just say Jack the Ripper, looks so cool. That's like a brand already now, right? We don't say things like Ugly Face Samuel. Right? we don't give
Botak Chin is Botak's not exactly a.
First of all, the guy had hair.
Oh really? Yeah.
He was not really like Botak lah.
Understand.
If you see pictures of him, he had hair, right?
Oh, okay.
You know, we give the name Scarface, that kind of thing. We don't say, ugly face,
He's not exactly Botak. He's going Botak
got
Chin.
baby lah.
Yeah, going Botak
Going
Chin.
Botak. Yeah. So that's the thing, right? We give cool nicknames, and that's why we say crime is glorified.
Yeah. But what were the extents of his crime, man? Botak Chin.
So
how did he eventually get shut down, dude?
So I think same with any crime, when the police is on your trail, it's just that they are gathering enough evidence. You have to understand one thing about the police force. Any day they can catch anyone. Is that it's not worth the time, because if I don't have enough evidence against you, the case is going to be shut off. Right? So what people don't understand, after as a police officer I catch you, I've got 48 hours to hold you, bring you to court, right? And the DPP must have enough evidence to charge you. If they don't, or else the case gets dropped and I have to let you go. So now what I've done, I've just wasted time.
It's a waste of,
Waste of time, waste of resources.
That's interesting what you just said, which is people probably don't realize a police can catch anyone anytime.
Anytime.
Yeah, you're right.
So now, same thing with like Botak Chin and all, right? So all these crimes he has committed, they just need solid proof to bring to court. And then they go in and they catch you. Unless you have that, forget about it. No point I catch you.
And perhaps they're not looking for evidence of one of his crime or two. They want the whole big bag of everything.
They want the whole 9 yards, so that when they put you away, they put you away for a long time.
Yes, sir.
If not, it's the same like, the snatch thieves, right? Cake, masuk penjara 3 bulan, come out. Masuk penjara 3 bulan, come out, right? So then it becomes, doesn't matter lah, What's the point? Going 3 months, you've got food and all prepared for you. You come out, then you do it again. But if I've got enough evidence, maybe I can put you away for a few years. Right? So that's what that's why you have to understand why police officers do it that way.
Eventually he got locked up lah.
He got locked up, all came out in the news, big stories, and like I said, some people start talking about the good things he has done. He was a pillar in the community, that kind of thing, right? So that's why somebody has committed a crime, and we keep looking at how do we make them look good. We give them these cool nicknames. We glorify the good things that they've done, right? But then we fail to... Here's the problem. We fail to understand the amount of sufferings that these guys have committed for other people, right? So even if we just say, I rob you, for example, right? And now you've got no money. To people, he just robbed Brian only. But I don't know how many people Brian is feeding. Maybe you're supporting your family, you're supporting your siblings, you're supporting your cousins, right? So just by robbing you, now I've stripped 10 other people of food, to say, right? So a lot of people don't understand how the chain of things can cause other people to suffer.
Okay, so and you're saying that because people think that because he was also being nice to the poor people and all that shit. Yeah. Okay.
So just say, you see, for example, if you take corruption, for example, now just say 100,000 is supposed to be allocated for a certain community, but only 10,000 gets allocated, and we say, Namala, 10,000 went in one. Yes, but with 100,000, I could feed 100 families. Now with 10,000, I can only feed 10 families. You're depriving 90 families of food, right? But people don't see that. They say, no, what, he fed 10 families, what?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Namala, he took a bit, but he fed 10 families. Nonsense.
Yeah. Corruption thing in our country is...
It's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. People and the most recent one is Pamela Ling. Yeah, so I think by the time this podcast comes out, hopefully there's more news on the case. But what happened was she was taking a Grab from Jeras going to Putrajaya to the MACC office, and then their Grab car was surrounded by three other cars, people dressed in uniform. Whether or not they were pretend officers, don't know yet. Came out, told the Grab driver, we need to arrest her now. Okay, she paid the $100 fare, and the Grab driver ended the trip, and she got out of the car, went with them. She was reluctant at first. Yeah. Then after that, I just saw earlier today, a couple of hours ago, the news said that this Pamela Ling was actually, she had a lawsuit, a case against the MACC themselves.
Okay.
Yeah. So fishy stuff lah.
Fishy stuff lah. A lot of things are going on, Gan. So I think hopefully, like we said, by the time this podcast comes out, at least then there will be more information on this. Yeah.
That's why. That's again the reason, right? People don't understand like when you have people like Siti Kasim, who obviously is hated by a lot of people, hugely polarizing figure, right? For her to speak out, right, and talk about shit like this, and maybe people don't know this. She had a bomb threat before received, okay, and the bomb was planted under a car. Okay, the bomb squad verified it is a bomb. Okay, it's not the best looking bomb, but it was a handmade, man-made bomb, right? And when I asked her, right, during the podcast, I asked her, who do you think planted the bomb? And she, based on the evidence, which was the CCTV saying when the bomb was planted under her car, right, when it was planted, it was in that particular day, and in that particular day she went to a couple of places. One was, I forgot, is it Kelantan? How far is the drive to Kelantan? Do you have any idea? 5-6 hours.
5-6 hours? Fair.
Yeah, maybe like that. And then she went to Kelantan, and then she strongly suggests that it's not. She went to a Orang Asli village because she's an activist, ma.
Yep.
Yeah. And then she went to court, a court to handle some case. I can't remember, some Orang Asli case. And she herself thinks that it has to be someone in the it could be someone in the police force doing it. Yeah. So to have something like that against you, right, and then knowing that, or having a suspicion that the police itself is planting something like that on your car, and to carry on with your life, to keep on speaking out, being outspoken, right? I really respect people like that, because bro, she also, I think she said it on the podcast also. I know at any day something can happen to me for being this vocal. Yeah, so really respect this lot of people.
You sometimes need people to be vocal to address certain things if not, susah everybody keep quiet. Yeah. But also it's a lot of people will not agree. I'm not going to say we should blindly follow also . It's important whatever statement that's made by anyone, we should do our checks as well before we just blindly follow. But here's the thing, a lot of people cannot accept certain truths because then it goes against their beliefs or their realities . So facts.
So that's why we I think a better way to approach it is, you don't have to agree. You just to understand.
Yep.
That's much more better. If you disagree, no shit, bro.
Yeah.
I like apples. You hate apples. But can you understand why I like apples?
Yep.
And that's most important.
Correct. I agree.
Yeah.
That's how at least things more harmony. There'll be more harmony when you have
something like on having people on the podcast that you disagree with also. I think that's also a important thing, because you have to have proper conversations.
True.
You can't just shy away.
Yeah.
So like right now, right, bro, our crime rates are all increasing and all in Malaysia, right? What should people do, or what can we do and what is our government actually doing?
Okay,
can you speak on their part lah?
Okay, so the government actually has many initiatives, right? Some can be more effective than others, but there's a lot of initiatives on a lot of things. But I think a few things that they have done along the lines is, over time, of course, they've had more policies. For example, if previously you are a mule account holder, you know what a mule account is? Yeah, so you give your account to somebody else and that person commits crime.
Mule account?
Mule account.
Not the mule.
No, MULE.
A mule is someone who, for example, helps deliver the drugs, like that.
Okay, but this is for accounts.
Escrow. Is it escrow?
No. So just say now I go, you come to me, you say, hey, Shamir, help me out, I'm blacklisted. Can you open an account and give me the details? And give me the card. So I go to, just say, a bank, I open an account under my name and I give you full access to it. So you have access to the online banking, you have access to my card, everything.
Yeah.
And then you take my account and start committing crime and get people to transfer money to my account, which you are holding. Then when the police open the account and say, oh, Shamir owns this account, they come and catch me and I say, look, I don't know anything. I opened this account for Brian. He said he needed some help. So I'm considered a mule. So same thing with the drug thing. I am now a mule account because I opened an account for someone else and I don't have access to it. Okay. I've, in a way, abetted you in committing crime.
Yeah.
So
assisted,
right? So one of the things that the police has done now is that there's a new law that if you're caught giving your account to someone else and that person uses it for any sort of crime, previously they let you go, but now I think there's a 10,000 ringgit summon and a 1-year prison sentence or something like that. So to prevent people from actually assisting scammers.
Okay, which is something that should have been implemented a long time ago, a long time coming.
Yeah.
Because like, for example, right, if if you witness a murder or assisted in hiding a murder or what, you're also in trouble.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is their way of previously that okay, do you know anything? I'll pass. Now no, you also get into trouble. So that's one of the good things, right? But what I think people should be doing is a few things. One, I think we should be actually speaking out more against crime. I see lately you did one on cyberbullying as well and all. Great stuff on that. And we need to create more awareness. So I have to say thank you to you actually for having a podcast such as this, right? Because this gives more people an understanding of what actually goes on. So good job on you, man.
Thank
more
you.
people should be doing
I
this.
have to be honest and selfish. It is great to have awareness, but I just find this damn interesting, bro, to talk about this sort of shit.
Thank you. So more people creating more awareness is important, but also it should be proper information. I get very annoyed at times when I see content creators creating content about crime which is not verified. Right.
What do you mean?
So I there was a content creator that once, and this was a foreign student who was in Malaysia, right? And she wanted to show how safe Malaysia was. So she said she went to a cafe. She took a video of this. She left her laptop there. She went out and she came back. Her laptop was still there. So she's telling people in the country, you see Malaysia very safe and all. So I took that video and I did a reel on that, right? And then she told me, she messaged me and said, hey, no, okay, can you please take down your video? I said, no, you're creating unnecessary crime in Malaysia.
Bro, there's, what do you call this? Mat Salehs who want to suck up to Malaysians to get views. Yeah. There's so much of that. Yeah. Bro, okay lah. I've left I'm a clumsy person. I've left my wallet at places, my phones at places, just misplaced them. Okay. In Malaysia, I've misplaced many times and I've lost them sometimes. Couple of times in the cab, I got my phone back, I think once in the cab like that, okay, which was very surprised. Of course, give the cab driver a little something for his effort. When I'm in Australia, okay, in Melbourne, I left my wallet and phone many places, right? It's never been taken. So I know the difference in, safe and not safe. People will take your stuff in Malaysia, bro.
True, yeah, they will. But that's the thing, right? When you create content, I think it's important to create content responsibly. So sometimes, okay, there was once I saw content creators doing this. They said if somebody comes and grabs your handbag, straight away sit down. So the person who's grabbing your bag suddenly cannot grab and you start falling. Dude, whoever came up with that idea is the dumbest guy around. Because obviously to say something like you don't understand how exactly snatch theft works. The force that comes with the bag, somebody snatching your bag, is so powerful. You have no time to sit down. And two, you're caught off guard.
You're not bracing yourself.
Yes.
So your balance is, whoa.
Yeah, and that video went viral and I was like, oh, that's so dumb. And then there was one which I saw recently.
Do you happen to see what the comments were? Thank you for saving.
Wah, ini bagus. Then everybody shares that content, right? Oh, inilah cara kita nak buat untuk selamatkan diri. Nonsense lah. And then there was another one I saw recently. When people break your window and take your bag. So what these guys suggested was, you take your seatbelt and you put through your handbag sling and you lock your bag. So when somebody breaks your window, they cannot take the bag. And I was like, dude, that's so stupid because now you've got a broken window to deal with. If you had just hidden your bag from the start, you don't have to deal with somebody breaking your window and attempting to take your bag.
Oh, God, right? I understand. You mean when the person is not in the car lah?
No, when you're driving at traffic light, sometimes somebody breaks, they take your bag and they cabut. The motorcycle will come next to you.
At all times, basically. Don't put it at, yeah.
So this guy said, oh no, you sling your bag, you lock it through the what's this? The seatbelt.
Yeah, I'm glad my mom told me this a long time ago lah. Always hide it lah. Don't put it in
always hide
sight.
it. Exactly. Always hide it, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, oh my God, create content, create proper content lah. I know people create content for views and all, but this is so irresponsible. Yeah. Right? Create good content by all means, right? So because you see, like guys like you and a lot of your guests, you all have a lot of influence. You all have got a lot of power, I would say, in these sort of things. And it's so important that you guys create good stuff, right? But I say thank you very much for doing these kind of things, right? This and some of the other ones, the other podcasts you had as well. And that's why I reached out to you. I said, hey, good stuff. This guy is talking about good stuff. I would love to be on this podcast. So that's one of it. Another thing is, I think it's very important that if you see something as a society, you need to work together and stop it, right? So that's why you see Kampung areas are quite safe, right? because the whole neighborhood takes care of each other.
And they know each other.
Yeah, they know each other. Whereas most often in the city, you have people who don't know each other.
I like to think, right? Not I like to lah, but I have this mindset like if I'm in KL, right, in one of those, in Old Town or what in KL, and I'm walking through an alley at night at 12 a.m. I saw a 50% chance I'm gonna get robbed.
Yep.
That sort of feeling, which is probably, it could be true, you know, yeah.
But if you walk in the Kampung at 1 o'clock, don't worry. You know, it's so much safer. You know, when I was doing my university...
sorry, I want...
sorry.
Yeah, okay,
you were saying something about...
No, you carry on first.
Okay, so when I was in university, I was in Kedah. I did my degree up north in Kedah. And
what uni is that?
UUM. I was in University of Utara Malaysia.
This was before criminology.
This was before criminology.
Banking.
So... when I was there, suddenly I was driving a car. We rented a car to go to town, and town is about 10 km away from my uni, and there's nothing much in between. So happened my car stopped, and there was a kampung house over there. So I went there.
Why your car stopped?
Ran out of petrol. Ran out of petrol. So my petrol station is about another 5 kilometers away. So I go to the guy and I say, "Oh, Pachi, can help me or not? My car petrol finished." He looked at me. He said, "You am?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "You go in my house. You take my motorcycle keys and go lah." And I was like, okay.
What the fuck?
Yeah, he was so chill about it. That's how trusting he is. You take my motorcycle and you go buy petrol and come back.
If you return it, you return it. If you don't,
he was so chill.
Who cares?
He didn't ask my name. He just asked, "Oh, you student there?" I said, "Yeah." He didn't ask me to give my IC, license, nothing. So I was like, "Do you want me to leave my IC here?" Go. Don't worry, just take and go. So trusty. I was like, oh my god, culture shock. I KL boy, right? I'm so shocked.
No,
already.
it is cultures, man.
Yeah.
Different groups of people, there is a different culture. Some people you can call it ignorant, you know, and then the way you are putting it is he's kind-hearted.
He's kind-hearted.
Yeah.
He didn't look at my race. He didn't look at how I looked. I'm sure I didn't look very decent back then.
Yeah.
Right? It's okay. I trust you.
Yeah.
You're going to give me back my motorcycle.
No, but is it because your car is going to be left?
He couldn't see my car. My car was down the road. I had to walk to his house.
You're literally just a random Indian dude that came there.
Yes. Walked in and said, "Pachi, can you help me?"
I don't know. You try and maybe if it was a Chinese person, it's different. I'm just being honest.
Yeah, maybe. You know, so it's so interesting.
Simple acts like that. You know, you think it's some people. One way to look at it is being naive or being kind. For example, I go to the Ramly shop. I never been to this Ramly store. I just in Taman I never come to this place. The guy doesn't know me. I didn't bring money. Just like tak apa, buy it tomorrow. Nothing. Okay.
So you have very very nice people. I think especially the people like that is, you know, I'm doing good. If you do bad unto me, that's between you and God kind of thing, right? So you've got people who like that lah.
Yeah. Bro, have you, just now I wanted to ask, how about yourself, man? Have you been victims of scams?
Scams, no, but of course a lot of scammers call us lah. But I've that's the latest one, so weird that one. Right, but we get a lot of calls from scammers and all, but I think thankfully due to the knowledge that we have not become a victim, and I hope I would like to stay that way.
You actually never kena.
Never kena lah.
I kena one.
Oh no, what happened to you?
I kena one. I've kena a few lah, but I can't remember maybe. But there's one I kena U Mobile. Have you heard of this one?
Okay, what happened?
Yeah, I told you on one podcast, but I can't remember the details really. But what happened was he called and then he's saying something like, "You've been a member at U Mobile for how many years? Yep. Okay, this is the anniversary. We want to give you a 500 ringgit credit voucher to claim or whatever." I was so not interested, you know, and I'm not someone who
needs the 500.
No, not that. I don't. I want the 500. I want it. Okay, but I don't trust him lah.
Okay.
So I'm not someone who answers random phone calls. I don't know why I did for that. Because the reason why I don't answer phone calls, because I know is most of the time just scammers. I've saved the person's name. You know, I don't have a reason to answer a unknown number. Yeah. So he was so good at talking. He explained very politely that you need this. I asked him to show proof lah, okay, and then he was telling me, okay, this is your last bill you paid then there, and then how much you top up and how much data you use, all that shit. So I got his trust already. Yeah, and then he asked for my credit card number.
You gave?
And I'm like, no. Okay. Then I know I can't give. I'm not going to give him a credit card number. Then what? Why would he ask? Because if I paid, right, he already has my.
True.
Yeah, he already has my Yeah, and then I forgot what, like he said, like, okay, I'm sending something to, I'm sending something to this account now, right? Okay, this is just a test amount lah before he sends the 500, right? So it's RM1. Then I look at my phone, the one, it's like a RM1 you have to press
Okay.
accept. Yeah.
The OTP.
Before I press accept, right, then I look, I'm like, oh my god, it's me paying him. Yeah. Then I'm like, oh fuck you. So I just put down. Yeah.
Lucky, so close, huh?
Yeah, but it's, you see, I'm someone who's super wary about all this stuff and almost kena, man, dude.
Yeah, that's why I said. I always tell victims this, right? I said, if you ever become a victim, don't feel bad for
Embarrassed.
yourself or don't feel embarrassed because it's not you against a scammer. It's you against an organization of scammers.
People don't realize that
Yeah,
at
people
all.
don't. Yeah,
They don't, man.
they don't. They always think, oh, I so bodoh, I cannot scam. I'm normally so careful and all. But you have to understand, these are guys who have spent so much time understanding human psychology, and then you just the guy who picked up the phone.
I guess it's not safe to say all the time now. Sometimes there's badly run scams.
Yeah,
you know?
they are. But also the badly. Okay, we think it's a badly run scam, but it's not. It's actually a very smart way of running a scam. Why? If you are naive enough to fall for that badly run scam, confirm I'm going to get money out of you. So for example, if I message you and I tell you with broken English or anything like that, I message you and tell you, hey, I'm so and so, I've got $1 million ready, I would like to give you money, for example.
Oh, understand.
So they make it so bad that if you actually believe that, I know you're that naive.
That's also what. Oh, so that is actually one of their methods that they are aware. Okay. Like they basically. Okay, you see, right, for me, I even think the Job Street thing, that's a horrible scam because you answer and then straight away as a voicemail like that. Like, who's talking? You know, just put down. But if you're so naive, right, then you actually follow through and you.
So you know, if you're going to follow through for this, I've got you all the way.
This remember just now I was talking about the sugar mommy thing.
Yes.
Yeah. So I started receiving so much of it, right? And it's always the same now. Someone in the suits, someone dressed in a suit and is not a Chinese lady. It's either Indian or Malay. Okay.
To your liking lah.
No. It's just for some reason always Indian or Malay. I was telling one of my friend, then my friend say, "Oh, you know why no Chinese? Because they think you think you sell insurance." Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it's their profile picture is that. So I wanted to make content out of this. This was damn long ago, 3 years ago, during lockdown, 3-4 years ago. So I kept asking the person, can I get on a call with your manager? I just I want to be sure first before they send me their form, whatever form they try to make it official, that you put in these details and then choose what type of mummy you want. Dude, it's so, and they'll send you pictures also of all these girls and like all these moms, yeah, and then I asked a couple. It took me a while to set up a call with one of their manager. I keep saying, can I just call for a while? I wanted to record the whole thing. I did record the whole thing, right? I got on the phone with the person. The person sounded like he couldn't talk properly. Like he was, it sounded like, I think he's on some hard drugs or what. He just couldn't talk properly. Couldn't speak. BM was super broken also. He just cannot talk. Then I'm like, oh, this. Then I think like, oh, this is not working out. So I just put down.
Okay.
Yeah.
It would have been bad content lah.
It would have been bad content. Yeah.
No, but that's one thing which is interesting as well, right? You get put into a Telegram group and you will see people commenting, oh, thank you, I just received the money and all right. You have to understand, all these fellows who are saying thank you are also all the scammers.
Yeah.
In that group of 20 people in that Telegram group, you are the only person who is a legit person. 19 people are scammers.
Okay, yeah, I've never been in those Telegram groups.
So even with investment, they say, oh, thank you so much, baru dapat hari ni, thank you. And then they show their bank statement. They are all actually all scammers.
I mean, if you're talking about showing bank statement, bro, something else that is so common nowadays, what do you call it, investment scams. Okay, bro, all kinds of people. I got friends that did it also. Okay, number one red flag is people posting their gains.
Yeah.
Like, which fucking rich guy is posting on social media how much money you earn? You tell me which guy.
Yeah, correct.
No one. The only person posting how much they earn, right, is someone who is trying to get you to put your money inside.
Yes, correct.
No one that is rich, they post their material, things that they've got, but to post your earnings on tradings or whatever, right, they want something from you, bro.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. So
let me ask you something. I don't know whether you can say. Do you think Octa FX is a scam?
Octa FX,
You know what's
I
that?
wouldn't know. I know it's a trading platform.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know.
I just
Unless somebody opens an investigation against them, I wouldn't be too sure as well.
they've reached out also to do promotion. Well, I never replied, but I see so many influencers doing it, man.
Hey, be careful, don't forget about OpSky.
What is Sky?
There was this one that came out in the news recently. A lot of celebrities were involved because they endorsed the program, they endorsed the investment, and it was actually a scam.
And you know what happens to those celebrities? Nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Right?
Bro, you've got the best way lah, okay, for this scams is the playbook for them to get people involved is social proof.
Yep.
You need to harden the social proof, you know, and then people will just put in money. A very big case, right? You know, SBF, Sam Bankman-Fried. So there was this cryptocurrency called FTX.
Okay.
Right? FTX was one of the top cryptos for a couple of years, and then it all crumbled down because the founder Sam Bankman-Fried was actually using people's monies. This style of thing, right? Once you put money with them, right, they will tell you they're not going to touch it lah. It's to grow some portfolio or whatever.
It's a Ponzi scheme lah, basically lah.
Something like that lah. Yeah, he take the money and he was playing with he's gambling lah with people's money lah. Yeah, so he eventually crumbled. But what I'm trying to say is, the reason why people can fall for this sort of shit, right? Because the social proof is too high. If I'm not mistaken, Warren Buffett had millions and millions all invested in it.
Okay.
So, for example, right, if I'm me and I'm thinking, hey, you know, Warren Buffett got this much money in it, right? Then
legit,
Warren Buffett is not. He's got a whole team of people to analyze shit and to double check, triple check, whatever. He's not gonna fall for it, and he still fell for it.
Yeah. So but you know, I have to say, like I said, we spoke about being responsible as influencers. It was very nice of you to say, hey, look, I'm not sure about this. I don't want to promote your product.
I didn't reply lah, so it's not so nice.
No, but it's nice of you not to suddenly,
I'll be honest lah. I have no proof of whatsoever of them being a scam.
Yep.
I just think that whenever there's is the red flags, you know, whenever you've got especially trading apps, right, and then you got people pushing it so hard, and then they're going hard in their marketing, which is investing in influencers to market all this shit, right? Something's up lah. Where do they get the money?
True.
They pay good money, bro.
I can imagine. But you have to be very careful about this lah. Sometimes only after some time then we find out if it's real or not.
Really, bro, it takes time. Man.
Let's hope it's real so that people don't fall victim lah.
Do you like look into MLMs or? Have you ever been in a MLM?
I've been invited for a lot of MLMs.
Which ones?
You name it. I've probably been invited
Herbalife?
so many. No, not Herbalife.
Amway in Malaysia.
The one, yes, of course.
Yeah.
MC Ocean, Triumph FX, so many.
You know, you see a lot of now. Instagram, right? A lot of I got a few friends also. Chinese girls, right? They have. They're selling beauty products lah. Okay, and then you know it's an MLM lah. Okay, because you want to. They're always posting about their work-life balance, you know, and then how they're becoming a boss, right? And that is basically it already lah, bro. Once you see that, right?
You speak about work-life balance. I think people need to realize this. When you do your own stuff, there's no such thing as work-life balance.
It depends how hardworking you are lah.
Yeah.
Right.
You cannot be lazy and say you're making those millions, right? For example, you doing this podcast as well. It takes time. I think
so much time, bro.
I think people don't understand the editing time that you're going to take after this and all. People look at influencers or content creators and think, these guys are just sitting down 1 minute and they are churning out this income. They don't understand the amount of time it takes to create content, and I have to say, Vika was one person who gave me a bit of a view about all this. He sat down with me when we met, and he actually explained the whole process to me, how he decides on his content, how long it takes to do this. That's the part which, like you said, you want to sell an MLM product. You say, hey, you see, suddenly I got a big car and all. Why? Because you've got a bank officer who has given you that loan for the car, or you're borrowing somebody's car. You're just going to show your lavish lifestyle suddenly, right?
I see those people in some groups, and then there's these people, they're selling some. There was this friend of mine now, he was selling some real estate. And then he joined the company, and then a few months, and then suddenly he's in this, what do you call this? It's like they're having a convoy of Mercedes Benz, and then they'll go to the showroom, buy their new car. Suddenly they're having this convoy on the street, and then they're doing nice videos, and then asking people to join my team. We're gonna sell some properties. I'm like, bro, I was a real estate agent for 2.5 years. It was hard shit, bro. Okay, cool. It's hard. Okay, imagine being someone fresh graduate, right? You want to convince people to make the biggest investment they are ever going to make in their life, right? Which is properties, on real estate. You want them to put their money in someone who's younger, bro.
Yeah.
You have to be so fucking good, man.
True. That's why you need the flashy car to show that, hey, look, I made it.
Yeah, but also, if I'm a buyer, right, I'm so thinking, who the fuck is falling for that? But it still works.
It works. It works.
My boss had a nice car.
I did some awareness talks for property agents at one point of time. And
oh, really?
Yeah.
So, what do you cover?
So because their concern was this, and there were issues whereby property agents got robbed. Right? So
where or how?
So somebody say, okay, I want to view this property. So you say, okay, come, let's go. And I say, okay, 2:00 we meet at the property. So we go, you're the property agent. And of course, because you, like what you just said, you have to show that you've made it and you're a successful property agent, you know what you're doing.
Oh my God.
So you come in a nice flashy car.
BM
maybe you borrows your dad's car lah.
Yeah.
You come in a nice watch.
Yeah.
Right? And then you come a nice phone, all.
Yeah.
You come very presentable, right? We go in the house. I take out the parang.
So this is mine, bro.
And I said, please give me your watch, your car keys.
Okay, wow.
So property agents had that issue at one point. So we were doing a lot. And I have to say, at that point of time, companies like iProperty and Star Property, they reached out to me and we did quite a few stuff with them. So, it's like what you said.
What was the advice, sir? I just want to know, man.
So what we suggested a few things was a buddy system, especially for women, because there was a case where a woman almost got raped, or she got raped, almost got raped. So they were very concerned about that. Female property agents were scared already. So a few things that we've suggested, and I think a lot of it has been implemented, is that one, before you come for a viewing, send a picture of your IC. On that day, if I see the IC is not you, don't get down from the car. Second is that have a buddy system. While you're inside, ask your buddy to wait outside. Right? So this one, a lot of agents are like, they must share commission. I was like, you want to share commission or you lose your life? So you decide.
That's why
which one is more important.
I wanted to say, that's probably very tough to do, man. Because in that line, everyone is selfish.
World, yeah.
Bro, it's maximum, man. Your boss also, your boss doesn't have time to allocate a buddy for you, man, bro. He's gonna try to make you hustle and squeeze as much out of you.
But some agents actually did that, or they did check-in systems, right? Whereby, okay, I'm going to show this thing now. They've got a WhatsApp group. I'm entering the house now with this person, and then if I don't report back in a certain amount of time, please call me or something like. So it's actually very good as a team. You do that together.
You mean you ask the viewer to the customer, so-called customer, to give their IC
beforehand?
Yes, because robbers will not give their IC if they are going to do something
correct.
like that.
Yeah,
they're scared.
They're scared, and then can be traced back to you. What?
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, so those are the kind of things that happen.
Bro, this is something fun, but what, in your line of work, right, have you ever been placed in a situation where you were at risk, like real risk?
God.
You mind sharing some?
This one maybe not on camera lah. After this,
after
we'll have a
you
chat.
Can share?
Nothing. No, not really. It'll be better off camera, son. I'll share with you some stuff.
Okay. I think we're going to wrap already. Yeah. Anything that we forgot to cover? Cannot think of it, right?
No, don't worry. But I think we've had a good conversation. Anything, no man. We can always have another episode later.
Yes, bro. I would love to, man. Next time. Okay, guys. That's it for today's episode. Okay, how long it's been? 2.5 hours.
Wow,
okay.
I didn't realize time flew by.
Yeah. I don't know whether you're saying that to make me feel
swear.
happy.
No, I was like, okay, probably I came at 4, now it's probably like 5. I'm probably thinking an hour passed, but 2.5. Wow.
Yeah, so if the time passes like that, means you're having fun.
I have to say, very good podcast.
Thank you.
And I think you've asked very good questions. And one thing I have to say, I think you've made this very comfortable. So thank you very much.
That's the whole plan, bro. I have to make you comfortable.
Yes.
And then you start talking. If you're not... Bro, sometimes I can tell, man. If sometimes I looking at my paper and then I asking a question, right? And then I notice, the guy also answers like a robot like that. Siti Kasim was like that at the start because I was being formal. Then I realized, oh, fuck, I need to loosen up.
Yeah.
It's podcast lah. You have to be how do you say comfortable and yourself lah. Okay, correct. That's what I really believe. Authentic. Yeah. Okay, guys, that's it for today's episode. Give it up for Shamir Rajadurai.
Yes.
Follow him on Instagram. Just type Shamir Rajadurai, crime prevention specialist.
That's right.
Yeah, if you want to see him on in future podcast episodes, leave a comment, your thoughts, what you thought about today's episodes, suggestions who you want to see in future podcast episodes, and yeah, thank you for coming, Shamir.
No, man. Thank you very much for having me.
No worries. Yeah, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Missing my homies, I'm missing my oldies, my brothers, my cronies. We all went to court, but before only courts that we knew were the ones where we were shooting three, selling Kobe. To a legend, rest in peace to the old me, rest in peace to my brothers, rest in peace to my whole team. The oldest, I'm missing my shawty.